Umpires today, Allen, Coates and Schmidt. Here's the bounce. Carlton have won the toss. They're going left to right. Allen and Gardner coming it hard. Gardner slaps it down. Jones goes after it. Then there is Rintoul. He's taken high. He'll get a free kick. Chad Rintoul alongside the centre circle. Lays it off. Jakovic storming up from centre half back. A probing kick inside the 50. And Fraser Gehrig takes the mark on his chest. Great start for the West Coast Eagles. Carlton yet to touch the footy.
Very good indicator of how the West Coast Eagles are going to play. It's always been in the first 5 or 10 minutes so far this season, Dennis. And Chad Rintoul was the player who really got in there and put his body on the line. And that is a good sign for Eagle supporters.
Gehrig on his best effort. It wobbles towards the line. Silvani declared fit. Just as well goes back. Did he touch it across the line apparently? Wow. Oh, I'd like to see that again.
Well, that was very, very close. And admittedly, the umpire is a lot closer than us, that goal umpire, Dennis. And I have to agree with you. I didn't think that had crossed the line.
Never bothered us before, Chris.
No, no. And Jakovic, good to see him running off the half-back line. The West Coast Eagles in previous years have been known for their run off the half-back line. And that's going to be important in today's game.
Oh. Well, watching the replay, his feet certainly well inside the line. He was bending back. As they say, the umpire closer to it than us. Up goes Gardner, knocks it down. Peter Matera trying to crash his way through. Banfield's over the ball. Well played by Franchina. Got it out, but only as far as Donnelly. A drop kick, if you don't mind. Improvising. It spins out towards the wing. Lappin falling to the ground. Socket off the ground by Ratton, sliding in the opposite direction. Peter Matera. And the umpire wants it. That's umpire Coates.
The bench for the Blues, Den, a couple of surprises. Mansfield's there, Manton, Hume and Houlihan.
There's that replay on the goal line. It was touch and go, but not touch, if that makes sense. Down goes McKay. Hickmott slaps it out. Ratton did well. Allen, the hand pass over the shoulder. Camporelli's got the run of it on the outer side. Drew a crowd. Fletcher, untidy hand pass. Kudafides on the wing. McKay lengthens things a little, gets it across to Fletcher, hard against the line. He kicks down towards half forward. Jakovic getting the crumb though is Ratton, ridden into the ground by Morrison. In trouble, Hummel. Did he have the footy? He's on top of McKenna. It comes out to Kemp. They're going in for keeps out there. This time it's umpire Allen going across. And I think he'll bounce, or is he awarding a free kick? Last man up is Kemp. And it's going to be a bounce, I think, on the outer side. Rightly so. There's the bench for the West Coast Eagles, as we said, in their away strip today. Allen this time, although Gardner at the second opportunity. Hamill tackled. Well done by Gardner. That second effort kicked around the outer side. Morrison. McIntosh has got it on the wing. Kicks it down towards half forward. Beaumont's in front. Over the top was Gehrig, missing the ball. Turnbull picked up by Sexton. Sexton kicks it towards the outer side wing. McKay did brilliantly. Releases Lappin. Lappin goes wider into the path of Fletcher on the rookie list last season. Kicks inside the 50. Leading back in the race, Metropolis coming across on the angle and pretends he lost his compass and takes it out of bounds.
Smart move there. And it looks like Ashley McIntosh is going to pick up Anthony Kudafides, and that'll really test McIntosh in terms of his endurance, because Kudafides is excellent in that area.
Houghton almost clean possession. Kept his feet, did well. Lappin's got it. Snaps from about 35. It's a good-looking effort. That's a great effort to goal.
Well, one thing the Carlton players are very good is very good underneath the feet of their ruckman, and Lappin was in the right position there, and the Eagles' defence just can't be giving players of these type of calibre that much room. See the ball come out quickly, and they just get around their players. Very good to the Carlton team. And you've got to watch your side who's been informed, Dennis, because generally they'll continue on with that the next week. So the Eagles need to make sure they can contain Carlton in this first quarter.
Inside the centre square, the Blues going with Allen, Bradley, Franchina and Kudafides. Gardner, Jones, Kemp in there for the West Coast Eagles. The West Coast Eagles were one short at that bounce. Bradley comes away, kicks inside the 50. Houghton's in front, through his fingertips. Leading back in the race down there is Whitnell, taken to ground by Morrison. Close to the boundary line. In goes Ratton. The ball's across. They were one short back at the centre bounce, Chris.
Yes, Drew Banfield was a spare man in defence. Just have a look at the weather for the day. Expected maximum of 21 degrees. Currently it's 20 degrees, so the hotter the better for the Eagles, really.
Jakovic held by the arm, so he does something else, socketed off the ground. Lappin has been very busy. Morrison confronted there by Ratton. Coming through is McKenna. In the opposite direction, playing it well, was Jakovic. Morrison feeds it back. Metropolis across to McKenna. Running out of space, he kicks it high around the outer side. It pitches just inside the field of play. Franchina wanted a whistle momentarily. Saw himself as a boundary umpire. Bradley picked it up. Kicks looking for Whitnell. Knocked away by Jakovic. Hickmott to Camporelli. Camporelli kicks and misses.
Well, Dennis, they all thought that ball went out of bounds there. There was only one player who didn't wait for the umpire's whistle, and he's funny enough the most experienced and oldest player out in the ground in Craig Bradley. And look at that. Well, it was actually out, but look, all the other players have stopped, and Bradley's just kept going because the umpire didn't call it. So the old story, just keep playing until you hear that whistle.
Jakovic, who started well, away to Rintoul. Rintoul peeling off half-back, kicking through the wing. McKay put his body in front, hasn't got the ball, surely. Play on, Peter Matera trying to get it out of there. Sexton slides in the opposite direction, Christou. They tie it up, and this time umpire Schmidt goes across to bounce it. We've seen them all.
That'll be a very interesting clash. Andrew McKay on Peter Matera. Okay, Matera's going to have to help out the likes of Dean Kemp without the cousins.
Yeah, something to savour there. Jones is going with Koutafidis. It's Banfield forward of the wing, kicks it down towards the attacking 50. Beaumont had it momentarily. Philip Matera took it off him. Philip Matera running towards goal, 25 metres out and closing. What's he done with that?
He's missed it.
He's missed by quite a way.
And who was standing in the goal square all on his own? Scotty Cummings. Take another look, and this is a matchup. We've got Rice playing on Matera, and this is the area that Matera can beat Rice. Here we saw the kick from Matera. You can see Cummings there in the bottom of your screen. Should have went to him.
Christou. Strong mark though by Turnbull on the outer side. And Turnbull coming hard at that one. He's about 70 metres from goal.
Dennis, he's going to find it hard to find his leading play because Carlton are just getting back there in numbers at the moment.
This will drop quickly too up into the breeze, and it does. Silvani favoured in front, but almost got a free. Christou got it back to Beaumont, to Sexton. Played it brilliantly. Camporelli, he's away, kicking it up towards the wing. Ratton's got it now. Nice sidestep, good evasion from Ratton. Little chip pass. Lappin. Camporelli kicking towards half forward. Whitnell fell over. Jakovic didn't touch him. He was about 5 metres behind him. Gathers the bouncing ball, does Jakovic, and sends play towards the outer side. Timely push, and it's spotted. Well, not much to it, but Braun will get the free kick. Just enough. Christou, a hand on the back. Braun, as a result, pops it down towards the pocket. Caught some of the players unawares. Philip Matera sees the lead and finds his brother Peter.
Well, that was very quick movement by the Eagles, and once again, as I sort of said, Dean Rice is going to struggle on Philip Matera because of his pace. He'll be okay in the man-on-man situations, but if Matera's given 3 or 4 metres in front, he will run Rice ragged, and that is going to have to be a move that the Carlton coaching staff will have to watch.
Not easy to say. It's okay for you. Run Rice ragged. Here's Peter Matera. Kicks from about 35. It's close. Just across the face. Another Matera miss. Eagles by a point. And Christou, great to see him back and finding some form. A little indecisive. That's very short. Silvani hugs the boundary line. This is Beaumont. Beaumont jabs it up towards Hickmott.
They seem to do this a lot when they're coming out of defence, Carlton. They really do chip it around, especially when they're kicking in from full-back.
Silvani finds McKay. Now he's got some space. McKay runs through half-back, kicking down towards half-forward. McKenna in best position. Nicely done. No idea who that kick was intended for. There was nobody coming up the ground. Guy McKenna's got the footy just forward of left half-back. And the skipper kicks it back towards the wing. Cummings up over the top of Christou. Couldn't complete the mark. It's out of bounds. Slightly the attacking side at centre wing for the Eagles. Allen and Turnbull now. Off their fingertips. Kemp trying to crash his way through. He's over the ball. Needed to be careful. Wooden surrounded. Trying to soccer off the ground was Banfield. Hickmott played it pretty well, tries to shovel it out. Down goes Wooden. Kemp in the grasp. Donnelly. Silvani, a fingertipper, dropped it, but time to recover. Releases Bradley. Camporelli. The runner's looking good. Camporelli down towards half forward, touched off the boot. Ball Carlton. Houghton gets the hand pass to Ratton. Nobody back. Jakovic is chasing the footy. Well, it's set up like a wedge, obligingly for him. So Jakovic with time goes to the pocket and finds McIntosh, made to earn it by Ratton. McIntosh will get the free kick.
Glenn Jakovic seems to be in good form today already, Dennis. He's probably picked up 3 or 4 possessions, and he's having the better of Withnell already.
That's a big duel.
Yep.
McIntosh across the goal face. Wooden needs to come back towards the middle. Didn't spot McKenna, but finds Donnelly. McKenna still wanting the footy. Now it'll be his. Brian McKenna forward of left half back. With some time. Miscues though. Jones knocking away from Koutafidis. Great balance from Koutafidis. Throws it on the boot. Hangs up on the wing though on the bounce. McKenna goes in trouble. Banfield tackled by Hickmott. Comes across to Donnelly. Donnelly goes off his step almost apologetically. Gets it across towards Braun. Kemp in trouble. A hand pass sold him into that. Christou arrived quickly. He collides with Banfield. Eventually McKenna. Donnelly with time. Spots Braun. Well played. Braun's got it on the wing.
Dennis, I'm just having a look at Guy McKenna, and he seems to be in some trouble already at the moment. He took a heavy knock a moment ago, and he went to the ground. Took him a while to get up. And again, we just saw him handball, and they've got a couple of trainers out there. And this is not good signs for the Eagles.
It's very much a career at the crossroads because of injury as Braun drives it long. Floating in is Morrison, who started so well last week against Collingwood. And Morrison was marked right on the 50.
I see Bradley here just getting back in the hole.
Kicks it long. Well, Rice and Philip Matera surely are pushing it back to Rice, and he'll get the free kick. Rice out of the square finds Silvani. He was a dad last time he came to Perth. An overnight dad.
Christou. Dennis.
Well, his milestones. On the outer side, McIntosh leads back close to the boundary line. That was a push in the back. That was silly footy by Hamill. McIntosh bounds to his feet, kicks it around the outer side. Banfield takes the mark. What was Hamill thinking? Banfield finds Peter Matera, and that is a great mark at full stretch in the hands, arms fully extended out in front, especially considering the quality of the opposition.
It's interesting, Hamill, because he's in the top 35 for frees for, and he's also in the top 35 for frees against. So he gives them and he gets them, Dennis.
That time he gave it. Here's Peter Matera.
And again, you're just seeing the Carlton runners and their players just getting back, making it very hard for the Eagles to try and find a good pass inside there.
Jones. Now that's a clever mark, Jones. Gehrig gave the lead. It was intended for Gehrig, but kicks so often 2- and 3-dimensional. And Jones sensing that, getting across, too much carry on the ball, got in behind. Well, that's just a waste. The ball was out of bounds, and as a result, they could pay a hefty price. Jones on Koutafidis, but at the moment, roles reverse. Koutafidis on the mark, and Jones have just missed. Got on the goal umpire. Again close, but a behind, and that breeze is tricky. From that position, Jones kicking right into the teeth of it.
It'll be interesting to just see whether he runs with Koutafidis all day and whether Koutafidis stays on the ball, or whether in the past they'll put him back to full forward, and he has had a bit of a time at centre half back.
Did a fine job on Nathan Buckley last week, Rowan Jones. Emerging player. As Rice kicks in this time, tailor-made for McKenna. Up he goes, takes the mark, plays on brilliantly, releasing Braun. Braun comes back to Wooden, who hesitated. He made it a half volley. Goes again, though, after the fumble from Sexton. Gets the hand pass to Rintoul. Another fumble. They're making hard work of this one. Well done by Jones. Down goes Donnelly, taken high. No free kick. Christou grabs it. Kicks it towards the outer side, half-back flank. Peter Matera goes back. He's got time and support, but the hand pass again untidy. Jones couldn't control it. Braun did. Nicely done by Peter Matera. 60 metres out towards the kick-off line. Scotty launched himself from behind. And what's happened down there, it's going to be a free kick, I think, to Carlton. He may have paid the mark to Koutafidis in that pack. They were coming from all directions down there.
Gee, the pressure by Carlton was just fantastic. They continually just kept attacking the Eagles players, causing that many turnovers that The Eagles just being forced to rush the ball in.
There was a mark to Koutafidis. Turnbull couldn't control it. Jones, who started well, to Turnbull, who snaps. That's better. It's a goal to the West Coast Eagles. Good, hard-working football in there.
Well, it's an interesting situation really with Ryan Turnbull lining up at centre-half forward. He's really the backup ruckman for Michael Gardner this year. He had a terrible season last year, and he's been helping Gardner out in the ruck, but we've just seen him lining up at centre-half forward on Michael Sexton, and in the past the West Coast Eagles have really struggled to get past Sexton, but this could be an ideal matchup here for Turnbull, and he could be a real handy player for the Eagles today.
Ryan Turnbull with the Eagles' second goal. His dad was an undersized centre-half forward. Ryan, a tall centre-half forward. Ryan's dad, John, played for Swan Districts under Hayden Bunton. Great sides back in the early 60s here in Western Australia. Jones to Donnelly out of the centre square down towards half forward. Turnbull's in front, knocked away by Sexton. Bradley, Franchina chips it out wide, wanting Hickmott to run onto it, set him a task. Donnelly is first back, close to the boundary line. Donnelly throws it on the boot. Turnbull again.
And where he could hurt Sexton is in the aerobic department, Dennis, because Michael Sexton hasn't played a lot of football this year.
Gardner's got it.
Around.
Gardner plays on. A centering kick. Fletcher comes in hard for Carlton, did well.
Good commitment there. Very good commitment.
As I mentioned, elevated from the rookie list. Made his debut against Brisbane, round 16 last season. This is Lappin. Little chip pass. Camporelli loves playing in Perth. The wide open spaces really suit him. Kicks down towards half forward. Beaumont's run on. Whitnell is on for the next one. He's got it. Can run inside the 50. Well, he's almost got it. Taking my word, he'll get it. He's got plenty of time. Turns around. Kicks and misses. Well, had he got it, had the kick been better, he would have had more time, I think, to line up goal. As it was, there was a little pressure creeping in with Djakovic getting close. It affected the kick.
It's only Whitnell's second possession for the quarter. Djakovic has already had 6, but just that time he was able to get well away from Glenn Djakovic. Djakovic got sucked up into the plate. And normally you find Whitnell actually being a long way up. This time Whitnell's been able to stay back, and Hamill's been going a long way up the ground.
Gardner gets it from McKenna. The attack is out of bounds.
Now Koutafidis gone down forward, and he's been picked up by Ocean McIntosh. So he's really been swung around here today, Anthony Koutafidis.
Allen directs it down. Ratton. Kemp left it behind. Banfield. Bradley now eventually picks it up. Craig Bradley, one of the wonders of the world, up there with the Sphinx. He kicks inside the 50. There's an opportunity. Houghton gets it across to support Koutafidis, and Koutafidis kicks it behind.
Interesting move there, Maney. They've sent Kuta forward, so McIntosh picks him up. So Jones goes to the forward line. Rowan Jones, and Aaron Hamill is now playing in the back pocket.
Yeah, they've had a tendency to swing quite a few players around in the past few weeks, especially through the centre. They probably have about 8 or 9 players who come through the centre bounce down. So Parkin and Britton and likes not afraid to keep moving their players around the ground.
Metropolis goes high towards the outer side. Djakovic is out there. Gardner was up as well. Houghton knocked it away. Fletcher gets a hand pass off. Nicely done. Houghton follows up. Kicks from the 50. Good looking effort. No, it just tails away and is a behind.
It's pretty even really at the moment. No side has really been able to flex their muscle. The Eagles in the past have, if they've got out to a good start, they've generally been able to hold on. But of course they're up against a class side today, and this is going to be an important clash too, the Donnelly versus Hickmott clash. He's been in good form lately, Dennis, Andrew Donnelly.
Ratton played it well, knocking it forward. Koutafidis falling to the ground, tried to deflect it across. Camporelli at close quarters. Bradley, they stayed off him. Bradley's kick not good though, and Metropolis camped in front, favoured by the kick. Takes a timely defensive mark. Good game of footy, a lot of pressure in it. McIntosh swings it out wide. Banfield's got it. Banfield comes to Kemp. It was well played by Turnbull, who came forward. The new Kemp was unattended behind. It will be a reload free kick against Franchina to be taken by Jones.
It was well and truly late there. You could almost see that coming.
That was clever by Turnbull. Gave the short lead, but indicated go over the top. I know Kempy's got no one on him. Now Jones with Hamill standing the mark. Jones kicks inside the 50. Silvani reaches over the top and knocks it down. Allen slips the hand pass away. Hickmott. McKay. Now Rice. streaming away from half-back, kicking towards half-forward. Whitnell with Jakovic closing. Jakovic knocks it towards the boundary line. The idea is to run him around, but so far he's responding well.
Yeah, he's looking very good, Glenn Jakovic. The last few weeks he's really picked up his form. Had a couple of quiet seasons recently, but we're now starting to see a bit of the old Glenn Jakovic of old.
He's making a bit of noise. Bratton's hand pass goes back across the boundary line.
He's actually become quite animated this year too, Dennis. And in previous years you don't see too much from Glenn Jakovic, but in quite a few games you can see him remonstrating and talking to the opposition and getting fairly revved up.
Cool. ESP, Manny. Well done. Over the top, Houghton. Wide of the pack, though, it comes to Braun. Braun kicks around the outer side. Sexton. Sexton, close to the boundary, puts it out of bounds on the full. Good pressure. Turnbull getting across to effect the kick. Turnbull running around offers the short lead now, but Rintoul ignores that. So many Eagles, sons of former WAFL players. As the kick goes around the outer side, Allen reaches over the top. Jones, Gehrig does well. Banfield gets it across to McIntosh. McIntosh right on the 50, spots Gardner. McKay is closing. Gardner recovers, turns around, kicks, hits the post. Great commitment from McKay. Admittedly, he didn't win the footy, but he got there, gave the contest. He comes back hard as well with support from Silvani.
One thing about Stephen Silvani, even if he thinks he's out of the contest, he always just keeps going and tries to just put that little bit of extra pressure on, which can sometimes cause the ball to come unstuck. Here's Carlton going forward again.
Gudafidis down towards half forward. He got it from Ratton Jakovic. Over the top of Whitnell. Doing very well. Jakovic goes out wide. Braun tracking it towards the boundary. McKenna on the assist. Braun does brilliantly. Comes back towards the middle. Rintoul spots Wooden cruising past his Turnbull. Thought about it. Bought him some time and space, actually. He goes in the other direction. Kicks inside the 50. Philip Matera, the juggled mark. The Eagles looking very clean and precise, as they did early last week against Collingwood.
Chad Rintoul now a couple of times he's been responsible for the ball getting into the Eagles' 50-metre zone. And he really is an important player to the West Coast Eagles because he offers them that little bit of aggression, which they often do lack sometimes with their players. Seen in the past where he's taken out Michael Long. And if he can continue with that form on the wing and continually keep pumping the ball down into the Eagles forward line, mind you, the Eagles players up forward have got to be spare and free. And they will do some damage.
Matera, sharp angle. Not a bad effort. Great goal.
Well, it really is a good start for the Eagles. 3 goals on the board already to Carlton's 1, and just at the moment they have been reluctant to get that ball in there as quickly as they can, and when they do, that's when they are able to catch out the Carlton defence. But so far, probably through the midfield area, it's been sort of even Stevens. Some of the Carlton midfielders, and Ratton and Camperella and Bradley especially, been getting quite a bit of the ball. And Dean Kemp's doing a pretty big job in there himself.
Philip Matera has 28 goals for this season. Dangerous again this year on the forward line. Really emerged last season. Rucks go at it. Gardner doing pretty well. Knocks it down. Mansfield kicking towards half forward. Kudafidis in front. Knocked it down to the advantage of Bradley, who soccers out wide. Runs onto the ball. Runs to the 50. Heads for home on the breeze. Sparkling kick. Straight through.
Well, it's just so damaging, isn't he, Craig Bradley? You can never underestimate his value to a side. And just at the centre bounce down, what he does is he starts behind the ruckman and just gets on his bike and runs through, hoping that he'll find the gap. And even though he doesn't get the ball in the centre, he continued to keep running there and was the spare player out on his own. So he really does cover a lot of ground, Craig Bradley, and he's a very good long kick too. His skills are immaculate, and he just seems to get better with age.
8 possessions for Craig Bradley. And a wonderful finish it was. Clinical from right half forward. Centre square infringement.
Dennis ran across the line on the wing.
And Gardner will take the free kick.
Philip Ree's now come on for Guy McKenna too.
Not good news for the Eagles. Gardner kicks inside the 50. Mansfield going back, dropped the mark. Socket off the ground by Kemp. Jones finds it on the ground. Comes back to Kemp. You'd expect him to kick it. And he bounces it through. Well worked.
Well, just the work by the Eagles midfielders there to really push the ball forward. If there's going to be one area that they may have struggled today, it was through the centre without Ben Cousins in there. But they've been able to match up fairly well inside that centre square. It's been fairly even in the ruck between Allen and Gardner, so they're really relying on the crummers. And that's where the likes of Rattans and Camporellis are normally pretty damaging. But just at the moment, Braun, Wooden and Banfield are in the centre, and they're just driving the ball forward as much as possible.
5 possessions today then for Dean Kemp, averaging 25 a game this season. That's way up from 16 last season. And there's a story there. Rucks go at it. Allen deflects it down. Over the ball was Hume. Crashing in rather untidily was Reid. There's no free kick. Bit lucky there for the Eagles.
And then the news down here, no problem with Guy McKenna. He actually came off because of a mismatch. Darren Hume's going to the forward line for Carlton, so Philip Reid's picking him up.
Okay, Barra, we believe you. Taken by Reid inside the centre square, kicks it out wide. Kemp in front, Franchina closing. Kemp played it pretty well. Gardner, oops, left it behind. Fletcher across the boundary line goes the Carlton player with a footy. And the boundary throw in.
Wasn't the skill work there of Dean Kemp fantastic? Even though he's on the ground, he's still managed to get the ball away to Michael Gardner. He really is a talented player, Dean Kemp.
Allen comes over the top. Mansfield throws it on the boot. Koutafidis. Lappin, he's been dangerous. That fixed him. Lappin had to stop. Kicks off his step. Ratton's in front down there and takes the clever mark. Game number 200 last season. Or last week rather. Comes in short and finds Lappin. He celebrated a couple of milestones on this ground, Brett Ratton. But now it's back with Lappin to have a shot at goal from about 35 metres out.
Interesting to think, really, that Brett Ratton was used to play in the back pocket, and when Ken Judge was at Carlton, was quite instrumental in getting Ratton up into the centre of the ground. Dennis, so we've really taken over from Greg Williams.
Lappin from right on the 50 gives this one a ride. It's just shaping right to left and behind. Well, Ratton coming off 33 possessions last week in game number 200. There he is. Had 30 last time these sides met. That was in week 2 of last year's finals. Wonderful competitor, fearless player, one of the all-time greats at Carlton. Towards the outer side, spinning out of trouble. He's got a new lease of life as Turnbull found Morrison. Comes across to Braun, made it awkward for him. Mansfield played it pretty well. Morrison butters up again, kicks it down towards half forward and Jones. Well done by Bradley, got the hand passing arm. It spills across to Braun though. Awkward one for Philip Matera. Peter Matera comes in. Philip Matera was taken around the neck, surely. Down towards Scott Cummings, who does a bit of pushing, but the ball will come back to Philip Matera for a high tackle. He was the shepherder. That was pretty crude.
Take another look at the replay, and Franchina just threw him around a bit like a rag doll, really.
Philip Matera's got one.
Be looking for a lead here, but there's really none on offer. Carlton have been very good so far at being able to force all their players back, and really restricting any of the Eagles players to lead into a hole.
Awkward situation to kick from, and looking down there as Philip Matera was, he would have seen Peter Simic's name scratched on the surface. I think he autographed that area, Peter Simic. This was position A for him, but
you could almost guarantee Peter Simic kicking it from out there, couldn't you?
Absolutely. Not so. 15 metres out directly in front. Philip Matera, long kick across the face, off hand. Sexton makes sure it's a behind. Interesting game. The margin is 12 points. The West Coast Eagles on top, looking for 3 straight wins. Carlton looking for 7 straight. Dean Rice, what a warrior. Kicks off, comes in short. Mansfield running into form now. Out of defence, not a good kick though. Showed too much of it to Fraser Gehrig. He's got the ball just outside the 50 on the siren. It's quarter time. Now Fraser, the spotlight is on you, son.
You might as well go back and have a kick, Dennis, because at least you still get a stat and it goes behind your name, even though you mightn't be able to reach from there.
Well, right into the breeze, that's the problem. Normally a thumping kick. This one will just tail off. McKay comes across and does what they did last night. Puts it across the line. Quarter time. Really enjoyed that. Both sides flexing their muscles at various times. The West Coast Eagles have the lead. They're up by 12 points. Their goal scorers, Kemp, Gehrig, Philip Matera and Ryan Turnbull. And for Carlton, their goals have gone to Lappin and Bradley. Quarter time at Subi. Sunday football. And it's West Coast 4-5. Carlton 2-5. This season, the second term has been the Eagles' most productive. They're averaging 32 points per second quarter. Start of the second term. Rowan Jones very concerned about just where his man is at the moment. He had Koutoufides in the first half. He's starting in the centre square, but Koutoufides isn't there with him. Hickmott goes up and knocks it down. Back goes McKenna. There's Koutoufides. McIntosh manning him up just for the moment. Lappin, meantime, gets the hand pass away to Bradley. Bradley plays it well. Good call too. Whitnell, I think he called Hume out. Hume stretching at the last moment, retracted his hand. And Whitnell now, who hasn't seen much of the footy. Jakovic generally has been the master in that confrontation. Whitnell will fire from about 30 metres out.
Ken Judge would be very happy that first quarter. Jakovic had 7 possessions to only Whitnell's 1, so he's certainly done his job there. He's lining up. And to be a good start if he gets this one through. I think the crowd's indicated that it has.
Yep.
And if you look at the situation at quarter time, the Eagles had some very good plays. Andrew Donnelly has continued on from his good form. He had 7 possessions, and he's been opposed to Hickmott, who only had a couple, so he's certainly winning his battle. Koutoufides and Jones, well, that's been sort of an even situation. Koutoufides has been running around all over the place. They've had 6 possessions, so did Jones. And really, it's just been an even battle all over the ground. Perhaps just the Eagles' midfielders just slightly on top.
Interesting situation in the centre square. Jones wasn't comfortable. He's come out. Peter Matera's come in. So Jones is being picked up by McKay now. With Koutoufides going inside the 50 for Carlton. McIntosh, the man marking him. Mansfield going nowhere. Whistle, ball up alongside the centre circle. Now Koutoufides is creeping up the ground. McIntosh is coming with him.
I think they're just trying to expose McIntosh's running ability, Dennis.
Cat and mouse, Parkin and Judge at the moment. Down goes Metropolis.
And Dan, you mentioned Parkin and Judge. I tell you what, most of the talking and coaching was done by Wayne Britton at the break. Parko stays on the outside and shoots from outside, and all the talking done by Wayne Britton. I haven't seen that before.
Thanks, Adrian. Keep an eye on that. Let me know who's plotting and planning and scheming. As the ball comes out to Turnbull.
It's been a key figure today, Ryan Turnbull.
Doing very well.
He's really stood up.
Turnbull kicking inside the 50, Cummings surrounded, reaching over the top. Silvani played it well. Allen cast in the role of a rover. Koutoufides from half back towards the wing. Taylor made for McKenna, juggles the mark, plays on immediately. Turnbull, like Allen, doing a little roving, kicking down towards the 50. Back goes Koutoufides again, takes the mark. So something for Judge to ponder here. Koutoufides has put himself in the game, relayed free. It doesn't matter much. Allen's got it. Silvani bumped down by Cummings, and they bump again off the ball. But Koutoufides has slipped into the game. Short one comes across to Sexton. Jones did so well on the opening term. Kick comes down towards half forward. Knocked away by Metropolis. Not real conviction there. Well played by Jakovic, though. Little U-turn. Jakovic under pressure. Stood his ground. Kicks towards the centre square. McIntosh fumbled it. Coming through as Mansfield played it well. Camporelli knocked down though by McKenna. Chopped off by Wooden. Gets the hand pass across to Morrison. Probing kick inside the 50. Rice went to ground. Philip Matera, his man, gets back. Open goal, races in. Whoa! Just got it, but he's kicked it.
And Dean Rice there may have thought that he was a little bit unlucky because Philip Matera was pretty close to getting into his back there. We saw a situation in the first quarter where the umpire did pay that, and he was able to turn him around. If we just have another quick look at this, we can just see well, Rice, I think, has probably played for that one a little bit. But, of course, one of Philip Matera's great attributes is his ability to be able to turn around and scoot after the ball. And that's where he can be most damaging on a guy like Rice. I'm a big rap for Dean Rice. He played very well last week against North Melbourne.
Blistering pace there from Philip Matera. Kept his feet, got back, kicked the goal. Eagles extend their break. Gardner comes with the run. Allen stood his ground and did pretty well. Hickmott in off the line, did well as well. Ratton back to Allen. Allen kicks down towards the 50. Whitnell slides into the mark, plays on immediately. 55 metres out, centering kick. Koutoufides hung on to. Doesn't matter, he's taken the mark. Saw it against Fremantle. They isolated him inside the 50, one out. That time there were two couples back inside the 50. Watch it again.
Maybe Ashley McIntosh could have tried to have called Guy McKenna a little bit back into the mark. I know it would have been very courageous by McKenna, especially with his back at the moment. He's probably a bit tentative, Dennis. Normally you would see Guy McKenna doing that.
Koutafidis seeing plenty of the ball to start the second term, kicks a goal.
And really one of the real worries, even though he's had the better of the duel so far, is that lead up from Whitnell. He was able to get in front of Djakovic and then turn him around. And great play by Hickmott. His aggression inside the centre there really set up this goal, because without him having a real red-hot dip at that ball, it could have went either way. And here we'll just have a look. Whitnell will get up here. Djakovic has overcommitted himself, and he turns him around. And that's the real problem with Djakovic, is his ability to turn around.
So Anthony Koutafidis, 5 possessions already in this second term, had 6 in the opening quarter. Wasn't really a factor, but they've introduced him now in a way that's made it very awkward for the West Coast Eagles. Down goes Hickmott. Adrian, if you're listening, check out with those coaches who we give the credit to, will you? It comes across to Camporelli. Camporelli kicks it down towards right half forward. There he is again. And he's away, carrying it like a loaf of bread. Kouta kicks inside the 50. Down goes Whitnell. Djakovic did well. Whitnell, like a cork in the ocean, bounced to his feet. Djakovic, well, he's sitting on the beach sand. It comes to Ratton. Hand passes across to Whitnell. Metropolis takes him down. Is that holding the ball? No, says umpire Schmidt. And he will bounce it.
Well, that was great desperation by Glenn Djakovic, wasn't it, to come around. He just got his fist inside there, and he's really switched on. Again, Koutafidis, though, is able to break loose, and he could be a real problem for Ashley McIntosh today, and I don't know who else you could probably man up on him, being one out back there, Dennis.
There's the bounce. Knocked down by Whitnell. In trouble, Franchina. Or is it Hamill? It's Hamill in there who was taken. And we'll have a bounce.
Then Stephen Kernahan's claiming the credit for the move.
There's enough. Tell him it's a masterstroke at the moment. Bounce close to the boundary line. Whitnell reaches over the top, knocks it down. Hamill goes again. Djakovic pushes the ball across the boundary line, and it will be a boundary thrower. Eagles dugout. Some young faces there waiting their chance. Tossed in. Koutafidis taken high, surely. No free kick. The ball comes across the half-back line for the Eagles. Socket out of there by Braun, but only as far as Ratton. Untidy hand pass, though. Had more time than he knew. Donnelly has been very good. Banfield, awkward hand pass. In goes Hume. Gets it on the up there to Hickmott. Hickmott goes to ground. On top of him, claiming a free kick, is Kemp. It's torrid in there at the moment. And we'll have a bounce right at centre half forward for Carlton.
Very unusual there to see. We'll see that too, yes. Anthony Koutafidis was certainly taken around the neck. Very unusual to see Brett Ratton miss a target like he did a minute ago.
Had some time, didn't he? Koutafidis knocks it down now. Hume going nowhere. Ratton picks it up, or tried to. Came out the back to Mansfield. Lappin in space, 40 metres out. Lappin goes at his second, and he swatted it.
Well, again, just the good work by Carlton to have those players who are very good inside when the ball goes up at centre bounce downs or around the ground, even boundary throw-ins. Then what they do, they have very good outside players, and this is one of them, Lappin here. He sits out very wide, and it's twice now in the game that he's been able to sit off the pack and get a quick handball out and line up with no pressure whatsoever. And Chad Morrison is his player, and that's one of the areas that Morrison can be cut up, because he does give a player plenty of room to move.
Well, just thinking about the problem confronting Ken Judge here, really there doesn't seem to be an alternative to McIntosh. It's one out wide by Allen. That's playing on Koutafidis, but at the moment Koutafidis is putting on something of a clinic, rocking, taking the ball, doing all sorts of things. Wooden close to the boundary line. Took it across, did he? Yes, he did. I think that was his intention, but at the last moment realised that Braun was free. So it didn't work out too well.
Dennis, the only play you could probably maybe think of moving is Garrick, but then, of course, then you're robbing the Eagles of an extra forward up there. So, although McIntosh has done pretty well when he's gone forward.
That'd be something, wouldn't it? Garrick.
Both pretty similar.
Around the outer side from Braun. Sexton controls it against the boundary line. Kicks back across the wing. McIntosh. Well, we've stirred him up.
Yep.
Gets a hand pass across to Wooden. Wooden kicks towards midfield and Rentoul. Breaking hard for him is Turnbull. Didn't have to break stride. Turnbull comes back to the middle and Donnelly. Donnelly 75 metres out. Not a particularly good kick. Cummings in front. You can't beat Silvani from there. Silvani just reaches across the top and almost arrogantly gets the ball out of bounds. What a play.
I watched him play that game against the Kangaroos last week, and he just doesn't give an inch. And in this situation, when the Eagles are going to bomb it down to down to Cummings, you're just playing into Stephen Silvani's hands.
Boundary throw in. Gardner posed to Allen at the back. Rentoul showed a lot of courage after the fumble initially. Wooden. Philip Matera wide of the mark. Philip Matera out of bounds on the full.
Good work there by Michael Gardner. You'll always notice in their boundary throw-ins in the forward line, he'll always tap it over the back, allowing for his runners to run through and hopefully a quick passage in towards their goals.
Mansfield out of defence then. Donnelly in front. Allen came from behind. Camporelli in trouble. Slung. The ball's in there somewhere and it's not coming out. Koutoufides last man up. 7 times this season. He's had 30+ possessions. The season's high 37 round out against Sydney. And those men we saw well aware of that as Camporelli knocks it forward, taken by Donnelly. This won't be a mark. They come from all directions. Didn't need 3 up from the Eagles. Peter Matera. He was taken high. Well, not quite sure who that was that got him, but somebody arrived very quickly. Peter Matera's got the footy inside the centre square. Kicks inside the 50. McIntosh takes the mark. McIntosh could go close from here.
He's got a 50. Oh no. I thought that other umpire was calling it back there for a second.
And Maney, that's where you've got to hurt Cooter, don't you? He's unlikely to man up because he plays his own game. So if they go to McIntosh, could be a way to expose him.
Well, especially when you've been in such good form like Anthony Koutoufides, because he's thinking coming into this game is it's not about who I've got to pick up, it's about who's going to pick up me. So, you know, his mind wouldn't be exactly a defensive strategy at the moment.
Important kick this one because it will plant a seed with Anthony Koutoufides if his man can kick a goal. A lot riding on the kick, more than just on the scoreboard. McIntosh, I think, sensing that, gives it a ride. Great kick.
Yes, well, actually, McIntosh, who normally you will find him down at full back, but he's been able to drag Koutoufides down with him and just catch him out. And at the moment, Carlton are basically dominating through the centre clearances and in the centre square, yet the Eagles are still managing to be in front. And they're just getting a lot of rebound off their half-back line, the West Coast Eagles, at the moment.
Well, they've played their fair share of classics, these two clubs, and you get the feeling something is cooking up right here. Terrific game of football so far. Gardner knocks it down. Franchina to Ratton, smothered off the boot by Wooden. Franchina smothered off the boot by Kemp, and Kemp is away. Kicks inside the 50. Knocked away down there by Silvani. Here's a chance for Sexton. Philip Matera's got him. Philip Matera gets in front of him. He jumped the queue. On all fours down there is Rice. He slaps towards the boundary. Cummings kept it alive. Morrison kicks it out of bounds on the full.
Matera picked his pocket then.
That was amazing, wasn't it? He was 3 back in the running line and suddenly was in front on the rail.
What about the commitment from Josh Wooden and Dean Kemp? They're 2 classic smothers which was able to force the ball forward when really Carlton could have been going their way. Donnelly can quickly get it over to Turnbull in the centre here.
Awkward. Turnbull couldn't control it. Franchina gathers at the back then. Comes out wide towards the wing. Lappin proving a handful for Banfield. Can't control it. And a boundary throw in.
Well, the move's been made now. Morrison has gone off Lappin and Banfield's come onto him. So Ken Judge obviously realising Matthew Lappin could be a bit of a danger up there with 2 goals already on the board.
Very lively player. Now the ruckman touched it down in front. Mansfield dragged off the kick, but it comes Carlton's way. Ratton, Camporelli, Lappin running down towards the 50, pulls it back towards the middle. Tailor-made for McKenna. Brilliantly off the boot. Jakovic is breaking hard for him. Rentoul in the middle. Elects Wooden. Opposite pocket. Men on in the middle. Rintoul still there. He's got it at centre half back. Rintoul driving it through the centre. Gardner comes on a searching lead behind a chance for Morrison. Still Morrison on all fours, tries to dig it out. Koutafidis has got it. The ball will come back to Morrison in the back against Sexton.
The move's been made then. Scotty Cummings is off. Gehrig full forward.
Morrison kicks towards the 50. It was a well-weighted kick. Gardner hit the ground running. Kicks from 52. It floats on and on. It's a goal.
Well, you really have to look at the source of where that ball came from before the Eagles actually scored it. While Michael Gardner will be credited with it, you've really got to get back into the back line. And Guy McKenna, who's come into this game with a bit of an injury cloud, was just able to mop up the ball there and switch the play. And that's what you need to do. If the ball's coming in one way, there's no point taking it back out the same way, because you know you're going back into the strengths of the opposition. So by swinging it around, you release the ball, and the Eagles will be able to get it across to the other side and move it quickly down to Gardner.
As Adrian was saying, Cummings is off the ground. Gehrig has gone down to full forward. Beaumont's gone with him. Williams is on the ground. Silvani picking him up as Allen slaps it down. Braun taken high. He'll get the free kick. Interesting at that last bounce. Williams playing back in the square. You would suggest it's better he push up the ground and bring Silvani up, creating space for Gehrig. Here's Wooden on the wing. Wooden, away he goes. Has the bounce. Draws a couple of players. Pulls it back towards the middle. Well directed though. Hickmott has been good. Takes the mark. Hickmott to Rice. Rice from half back, a high ball. Whitnell in front of Jakovic. Jakovic knocks it away. Koutafidis couldn't control it. Kemp sliding in down there is Lappin. Franchina side foots it. Hume did well. Releases Camporelli. Camporelli gets by McKenna. Great footy. Bacon square runs on goal. In for in stuff.
And that's where a bloke like Scott Camporelli can absolutely damage you if you don't get in behind him. He's a player who runs forward. He gets the ball a lot of the times, and he's always on the move. He's always generally on an outside play. Quite a temperamental player, Scott Camporelli. You can be upset, but if you allow him to have much room, it's quite interesting. When that ball came in, there was not one player inside that 50-metre zone for the West Coast Eagles or Carlton. They're pushing way up as the Carlton forwards.
Interesting at this bounce. Williams is pushing up the ground, bringing Silvani with him. Trying to isolate Fraser Gehrig. Meantime, back in the middle, Franchina alongside the centre circle. Kicks it out wide. In front, Houlihan. Braun, he's been very good. Backs off, gets the hand pass towards Jones. Ambitious. Coming through again is Braun. Mansfield should have gone at the ball. Parkin won't like that. And/or Britton, and/or whoever, as the ball comes down towards left half forward, close to the boundary line. It's going to be a free kick, is it, on the outer side? No, yes, it is. Back to Braun.
Mansfield definitely tried to test out McKenna's back there, and McKenna wasn't having a bar of it.
And of course, the one person you forgot in that coaching staff who was very good at that, Dennis, was John Worsfold.
Well, it's a long list. I was doing it alphabetically. There's Braun. Braun on the wing. Not a good kick. The mark is taken by Silvani. Houghton is at half back. He kicks a very high ball. Turnbull turns around and takes the mark.
This could have been a free kick to Koutafidis by McIntosh. He's been very good. Ryan Turnbull again. He's just giving the Eagles that extra big man option.
Eagles by a goal. Metropolis sends it in. Gehrig. Loose ball at the back. Sexton's hand pass lacked conviction. Beaumont taken front on. Down he goes. Williams pushed off it by McKay. Deep in the pocket, Camporelli emerges from the shadows, burying the footy. Kicks it up towards the wing. Donnelly, what a resurgence in a career. Pay the mark, umpire. He didn't. Gardner comes through. 55 metres out. Unloads down towards full forward. Silvani knows no other way. Thumps it away from his teammate. He's a defender down to his bootstraps, and it's out of bounds. A lack of talking from Carlton.
He doesn't pick up a lot of possession, Stephen Silvani, does he? But neither does the player playing on him normally. He's just a ruled out defender. Basically just stops the ball from going anywhere.
Boundary throw in. Houghton taps it down. This is Rice across the goal face. Kicking towards the outer side. Mansfield on his defensive 50. Breaks away. High left footer. Eagles have got 2 on 1. They only needed 1. Well, they've used the two. Glass gave it across to Metropolis, to Braun, knocking up, getting possessions. 16 of them now towards half forward. In front, Williams. And Williams is away, pushed off the kick. It goes about 5 metres. Here's a chance for Glass. Great pressure, Sexton. Gets it across the boundary line. 7 minutes out from half time. And it's the Eagles leading by 6 points in a terrific game.
Andrew Williams there probably didn't get off the mark quick enough. Maybe should have went back and just taken the kick.
Silvani slips the hand pass away. This is Fletcher running up towards midfield. His second bounce close to the centre circle. Kicks to half forward. Turnbull did brilliantly. Knocked it away from Allen. Follows up. Allen is loose at the back though. Lappin's got the footy. Comes to Camporelli. Camporelli in short. Allen could be the rover here. Takes it off hands. It's still Allen. Across to Camporelli. Camporelli twisting from goal. Pulls it back. It'll fall in short. Well done, Metropolis.
Seen him do that many times this year down in Metropolis. Just fade back in and take that saving mark.
Banfield's away. Rebound opportunity for the Eagles. High to the wing. Morrison steps around Fletcher. Fletcher knocks it down. Silky skills of Kemp. Held without it. He knew what was coming. He'll take the free kick on the wing. Dean Kemp kicks down towards half forward. Well, Gardner went one way. The kick went the other. Silvani went the other. He's got the footy. Makes sense of that. He comes to Hickmott. Forward of half back. Kicks down towards half forward. Whitnell could have been interfered with. Leads back in the race. Hasn't got the footy. Beat 2 of them. Camporelli's got it. He's getting busy. This will bounce inside the 50. Tracking his man towards the boundary is Banfield. Lappin couldn't work back. And it's out of bounds and a boundary throw in.
Just the different ways the two teams are bringing their ball into the forward line. Carlton have a very open forward line. We're basically just seeing one player inside their top 50. With the Eagles, Carlton are getting all their players back, so it's very hard for the Eagles to find any spare players down there. And Carlton are finding it a lot easier to score goals, Dennis, the way they go about it.
Well, they lock up Whitnell and Jakovic. Houlihan, has he got the footy? Wishes he had or hadn't, I'm not sure. Down goes Jakovic. Spills across the goal face. Hickmott camped over the ball, needs to be careful. Could have been penalised, wasn't. Emerging with the ball is Mansfield. Likes kicking a goal, and he does.
The Eagles players virtually stopped then. They thought it was supposed to be a free kick. And another classic case of players. There's a bit of a scuffle going on. Kouta wasn't too happy there with one of the Eagles players. Couldn't see who that was, but we'll take another look at this in a minute. You'll just see basically all the players will stop, and Mansfield's the only one to keep going. We saw it in the first quarter with Bradley. And here's the decision where the Eagles players thought it should have been holding the ball. Everyone stops. And Mansfield was just a little bit too fleet of foot for Glenn Jakovic.
Well, we made the point earlier. He got to play to the whistle, but the Eagles a bit stiff there. Bounce back in the middle, and scores are level. Gardner goes up and knocks it down. Silvani brought too far up the ground this time. Kicks it out wide. Houlihan over the footy. Shrugs a couple of tackles under pressure. Hickmott goes in. Emerging with a footballer is Rintoul. Gets it across to Williams. Williams, good-looking kick inside the 50. Loose ball at the back. A lot of wrestling. McKay and Matera. That would be a main event anywhere. Meantime, Rice has got the footy. Beaumont stood up nicely. Slipped the hand pass away. And Sexton now in space. Up to the wing. Lunging attempt out there by Glass. He missed it. Bradley didn't. Camporelli again. Kicks inside the 50. Whitnell and Jakovic. Play on's the call. Eventually the ball comes out like a rugby scrum. Over it. Banfield could have been penalised. Wooden too slow. Taken down by Lappin. Back to Banfield at close quarters to Kemp. Rintoul well played. Rintoul storms away from half back. Braun favoured by the kick. Silvani an awkward bounce. Resolute defence though. McKay tidies up to Hamill. Hasn't seen much of the footy. Aaron Hamill centering kick. Favours Jones actually. Ratton clattered into him. Whitnell to Ratton. A chance for Carlton to lead. Back goes Banfield. Carlton in front by that score.
Dennis, I was talking about the ease of the way that Carlton have been getting their scores. They've only been in 20 times inside their 50. Now the Eagles have been in 27 times, and yet there's only 1 point in the difference. So it's really, if they're going to go back and clog up the Eagles forward line, that means the Eagles players have got to swing it down there a lot more quicker.
Donnelly off his step to Jakovic. Turnbull is on. Takes the hand pass, but it slowed him up a little bit. He comes back towards the middle. It's okay, at least for the present. Well, Jones in trouble. Strong tackle laid by Silvani.
Yep.
And he's a bit stiff.
It was a very good tackle, because if Wooden had got through there, they were often running down the forward line. And that's what you want to see from players. Go straight at the body, go through the middle. He went nice and low on Jones, I should say.
Kudafides, Camporelli in trouble. Glass got him. Hamels over the footy. Crashing through is Hickmott. And there is Wooden for the Eagles, and we'll have a ball up. Camporelli now has seen plenty of it. 16 possessions.
I was just going to say, Dennis, I think the change is going to have to be made on him. Josh Wooden's had 8 possessions, but Camporelli's been far too damaging. Already with a couple of goals next to his name.
Especially forward of the centre. Between centre and half forward, Camporelli does a lot of good work on a big ground. Down goes Kemp. Gardner trying to crash his way through. McIntosh goes in. Hickmott working hard again for Carlton.
Some bad news down here for the Eagles, Dan. Peter Matera on the bench with a leg injury. Doesn't look good at all, and limped off the ground. Looks like a calf.
And Dennis, you said inside the 50, Camporelli is second in the AFL at getting inside there with 73, probably up to about 76 now. So he's very damaging running forward. This is another player who's very damaging. Craig Bradley, off he goes.
Momentum shifting, certainly. It's with Carlton at the moment. Bradley kicks inside the 50. Some hanging on. Ratton could have almost got a free. Jakovic played it brilliantly. Jakovic comes away. Kicks towards the outer side. Oh, well read by Fletcher. Took the mark, pops it back towards Houlihan. Houlihan's mark at right half forward. Typical Carlton and Perth this. They stay in the game and then take their chances. Kick from Fletcher. Hickmott goes up. Well worked by Lappin. He was the man on the ground. And Kip Banfield just off balance enough for Hickmott to make the mark his.
I reckon he's a very underrated player, is Hickmott, because he's always bobbing up and kicking goals for Carlton. And when you've got players like your Rattons, Camporellis, Bradleys, Kudafides, who take a lot of the limelight, sometimes the opposition, Dennis, can just forget about these sort of players, and they can creep in because the attention goes on the so-called stars. And a guy like Hickmott can certainly take advantage of that, and I think he has.
From the 50, hits the post. Up very high. He started very well last week against the Kangaroos, but found himself on the bench just before half-time.
He's a very good mark for his size too. So you probably would just say at the moment that Carlton have just taken slightly control of this game.
Yep, just get the feeling the Eagles are hanging on for half-time, which is just over a minute away. On the outer side, Jones. Well, a chance to launch something here to Morrison. Morrison, a fumble. Now he's got a problem, lacking support. The Eagles had run hard further afield. It comes across from Fletcher to Sexton inside the 50. Good spoil from Hickmott at the back. Charged down brilliantly by Ratton. Created something out of nothing. Franchina goes to Lappin. Lappin will run into an open goal and kick it. Brett Ratton take a bow.
Well, there's that man again, and realistically you could sort of look at the work by Fletcher there across the wing, who came from behind and was able to get the ball forward. In a game we saw Adrian Hickmott, who was, in terms of height, matching up against Ashley McIntosh there, but he just brought the ball to the ground, and that's where Carlton are very good. They have very good players, excellent crummers, and of course all their players run forward. Once they see the ball going forward into their forward line, they just en masse just run.
Lappin's got 3 goals. Carlton a handy lead approaching half-time. They trailed by 12 points at quarter time. It's been wonderful football. They've dominated the last 10 minutes. Reed with some zip. Braun is taken down by Mansfield. Franchina almost into the back of Reed, and Reed will get the free.
And where they've really dominated, Dennis, is out of the centre. They're 10-4, but 7-1 in this quarter, and that makes a hell of a lot of difference, giving their players first use of the ball. And they've been very good across this half-back line. And as soon as they mark it, they'll always try and switch the play, Carlton, when they come out of defence.
Houghton to Camporelli. Camporelli up towards the wing. Lappin in front of Banfield.
He's causing problems, isn't he, on Drew Banfield? He's having a very good game.
Lively, hard to match up with. Has pace, has a spring, can take a mark, and can finish. Kudafides, he started the term so well. Kicks inside the 50 on the siren. Well, some tired bodies, some tired players. It's only half-time. It's been a great game of footy. And Carlton are up by 8 points. Methodically, they've got back into it. And as Chris said, doing so well inside the centre square. That's been a key for them. and their runners getting forward and putting great pressure on this Eagles defence. Ryan Turnbull has done pretty well. He's played the entire first half. Fraser Gearing went deep into attack. I'm not sure about that. Cummings off the ground. I'd be inclined to get him back out there. Dean Kemp has worked hard for the West Coast Eagles. Camporelli 17 possessions. Koutafidis has 14. They lead all players. Donnelly's got 14 for the West Coast Eagles. Braun has got 16. It's half-time. Carlton 55. West Coast 47. Sunday footy. Second half from Subi. And Carlton lead it by 8 points. Allen and Gardner. Gardner up early and effectively tapped it down. Lappin, who's been very good, he's booted 3 goals. Fletcher's got the run of it inside the centre square. Comes across to Bradley. Bradley kicking down towards half forward. Koutafidis and McIntosh. Koutafidis juggled mark. Oh, what a beauty.
Especially against a player like Ashley McIntosh too.
Plays on. Terrible kick though. Goes off the side of the boot but comes to Hume. It's a long time in the air. Hume's got it right on the 50. Ratton runs hard and takes the mark.
The concerns for Ken Judge at half-time has certainly been some of the players who have been able to get the ball in the first half. Camporelli had 17 possessions and a goal. Lappin, he was very dangerous, only 9 possessions, but he was able to get 3 goals and get away from a couple of opponents. Koutafidis was good with 14 possessions and a goal. Of course, this man, can never underestimate him. We saw him last week in his 200th game, put in a great performance.
Straight through the middle. What a start for Carlton.
And even in that situation when you saw the bad kick coming from Koutafidis, and must I say that mark against Ashley McIntosh has got to be one of the hardest players man on man to outmaneuver, Dennis, is Ashley McIntosh, and Koutafidis just did it very well. He's just so exciting this season. He's really just lifted that extra notch. And even with the bad kick when he went forward, the Carlton players were playing in front. And if you're in that situation, you're always going to give yourself a little bit of a chance. So the Eagles really need to start winning it out of the centre.
Inside the centre square then for this next bounce. Carlton running with Allen, Bradley, Franchina and Ratton up against Gardner, Jones, Kemp and Banfield. Banfield finishes up with a footy, kicks it down towards half forward. McKay's in front. Coming through though is Kemp. Kemp gets the hand pass away, intended I think for Williams. Mansfield was in the road. Camporelli throws it on the boot towards the outer side. Going back with it out there is McKenna. Later good tackle. Jarred it out for Reid. Reid knocks it across to Metropolis. Metropolis kicks inside the 50. Cummings back on the ground. Punched away by Silvani. Great use of the body by Kemp. Tried to spin out before he had the ball though. And that footy ain't coming out. We'll have a bounce just inside the 50.
We've seen a couple of players lay some excellent tackles on their opposition today. Stephen Silvani in that second quarter. And again, we just saw Guy McKenna, a couple of your senior players, been around for a long time, and it can have a huge effect on whether the ball is going to keep going forward. And Carlton could have been away. Now the Eagles are inside their 50. Here's the ruck tap.
Flashing in there was Hickmott out of the congestion. A touch ball off the boot of Turnbull. Williams showed a lot of courage. Did he keep it in? No. Bad luck for the youngster.
We talked about Andrew Williams a bit before the game, Dennis, and often surprising to see him not playing as many games, because I think the few times that he's played for the Eagles, he always manages to bob up and get 1 or 2 goals, and as a half forward where he generally plays, that's almost doing your job.
Yep. Finds it hard to cement a place in this team, and it does surprise me, like you, as Rice does brilliantly, falling to the ground, but Camporelli can't keep it in. In fact, it's going to be a free kick to Rice for a push in the back. So a good result for the Blues. And Rice up from the back pocket. Kicks it high towards the wing. Allen camped in front. Turnbull from behind. Somehow the ball got behind the pack. McIntosh taken high. Must get it free. Franchina bursting away with a footy. Nothing doing. So McIntosh from the wing sends the Eagles back into attack. Donnelly had a good game. He's made a good return.
It's been damaging, hasn't he? Hickmott's been having a bit of trouble with him.
Not a good kick. Courageous gutsy mark going back there. Ratton. That was very clever. Running with the flight of the ball. Kicks it across half back. Reid the fumble. As a result, he's under pressure. Hume did well. Eyes only for the body. Wouldn't buy anything other than the body. Over the ball is Rintoul. Sliding in down there Sexton. Braun goes across the line. There was a classic case for anybody interested in the art of tackling. Hume didn't buy anything. He was simply focused on the body, tracked it and took it. Throw it in. Gardner slaps it down. Silvani, Franchina. This is Mansfield from half back. Untidy looking kick back towards the wing. Close to the boundary line. McIntosh spears the pass into Kemp. Dean Kemp between the lines. The veteran kicks inside the 50. Gehrig will need to go. Didn't touch the footy. Rice down behind at close quarters. Silvani. Silvani looking across the goal face. Comes to Ratton, to Sexton.
They're always looking to change the direction of play, Carlton, with the ball. They went one way, then back the other, and they're always keen on going short. Here's the long ball now from Allen up to Koutafidis.
He landed hard, Koutafidis, right on his back there. McKenna slow to get up. Meantime, Reed's got the footy. Nothing much happening for him. Kicks it out wide eventually. Donnelly searching, run up the ground, has got it. Glass is going past. Jones is on over the top. Jones has it now at right half forward. Braun has got away from his marker. That's ignored. The high kick down towards full forward then. In from the side, Philip Matera, almost a clever mark. Rice taking his frustrations out on the footy. And we'll have a ball up. Scotty's holding his head in there. Scott Cummings.
Andrew Donnelly's finding, or I should say Adrian Hickmott's finding it pretty hard to play on Andrew Donnelly, because Andrew Donnelly does cover some ground. Oh, Koutafidis, that would have hurt him lying straight on his back there.
Didn't help McKenna either. The boot in the back. And now we've got a bounce about 25 metres out from the Eagles' attacking goal. Turnbull slaps it down. McIntosh is over the footy. Koutafidis did well. Got it to Allen, to Ratton. Characteristic of the man, falling to the ground in the grass. Got it away. Bradley got it to Hickmott. Back it comes to Mansfield. Run down by Braun. Was it holding the ball? Play goes on. Sexton to Ratton, to Camporelli. Hard chase from Kemp to no avail. Hume, the tumbling mark, gets it away to Hamill. Hamill spears the pass down towards half forward. Nobody apart from these two inside the 50. Jakovic wins it. Rebound opportunity around the outer side for the Eagles. Gardner. Lapman did well. Great tackle. Got him down. Swooping on the loose ball, McKenna. The hand pass not all that good. Sat on its point. Coming through is McKay. McKay uses it well. Finds Hamill and a chance for Carlton to go forward. It's 3-on-2 down towards the 50. Lappan's got it. Camporelli will get it. He'll run into an open goal. What a start to the term for Carlton, their second goal.
Well, it's almost like Carlton are starting to break the back of the West Coast Eagles, and partly it's just because of their teamwork by their players. They're just prepared to run everywhere, and they certainly do use the ball with their hands very well. In fact, they're the best handball receiving side in the competition, and players like Camporelli benefit from that because they do get on their bikes and run forward. Williams is now picking up Camporelli, and he was about 25 metres behind Camporelli, and as I said, if you're going to play in a goal like this, get in front of him.
Well, it was simply a question of multiple turnovers, like playing Russian roulette with a loaded gun there. They were both surging forward, turning it over, and eventually the Eagles were caught as the ball came in. Donnelly liked his game as he kicks it high towards half forward. This one is slipping away from the Eagles. Rintoul coming through his Kemp. Hacks it out of the air, down towards half forward. Mansfield didn't appear to have the ball. Kemp did well. Gets it to Jones. Jones, the high kick inside the 50. Philip Matera's in front. Could have almost got it free. Lays a tackle on Fletcher. Rice emerges with it. Mansfield stood up in the tackle. Across it comes. The kick out from Fletcher. Nicely done. Sits on its point. Eventually taken by Allen. Untidy hand pass. Fletcher's run on. Comes back to Mansfield. Mansfield, the long kick down towards half forward. Can Whitnell get there? No. Dragged down is McIntosh. We'll get the free.
Just the one time that Anthony Koutafidis has been beaten in the air. He's already taken 7 marks this week, and he had 8 total last week, so he's on song to reach that target again.
McIntosh setting Braun a task, and the ball is out of bounds on the wing.
Bit of a task for Scotty Cummings to get back on the ground too, Dan. He's been dragged off. Chad Morrison's gone back on the ground, and they're saying Fraser Gehrig's on one leg out there. He's not too fit.
And why wouldn't you have Cummings out there if Fraser Gehrig's on one leg?
Don't know. Ratton in the congestion. Hard opportunity for Metropolis. He took it well. Kicks back towards centre half forward. McKay. Well, some quality there, McKay and Silvani.
This is where the Eagles are falling down, Dennis. The half-back line or the back line of Carlton now have just really taken control of this game. And as soon as they get the ball, as I said, they just look for their options out wide. And Matty Allen, who it's been quite an interesting duel between him and Gardner so far.
Allen kicked it in.
Thought it could have been a free kick.
I thought so. Gardner's got it, and he'll bring it out.
He's got Gehrig loose there in front. And he doesn't have a lot of other options. They've really got to just try and pass this around, because if they keep going long, they're playing into the hands of Carlton.
McKenna was the man who kicked it to Gardner. Now Metropolis has got it. Very static football at the moment from the West Coast Eagles, and they trail by 20 points.
It's like Carlton's just completely closed them down, haven't they?
Yeah, the word from Adrian was that Carlton felt they'd taken the best shot from the West Coast Eagles. It's looking a bit that way as the ball goes towards the outer side. Gehrig, juggled attempt. Koutoufides gets it away to Ratton. Ratton down towards half forward. Lappin stretches, and the ball is out of bounds on the bounce.
So some worrying signs really for the Eagles at the moment. Just struggling to penetrate inside their 50. And Carlton midfielders now are really getting control of it. There's a Gehrig. No, I wouldn't have probably called it a mark.
Umpire didn't. Gardner interfered with. Allen gets a hand pass away. Camporelli, Hume knocked away by Metropolis. Jones to Kemp, who was taken high. Advantage is paid. Was there an advantage? Yes. Reid gets it across to Gardner. Gardner around the outer side, kicking to half forward, coming up the ground. Philip Matera carried forward surely, and he'll get the free. Why wasn't that a free kick at the last boundary throw in though? Blatant push by Allen on Gardner. Philip Matera spots a leading player and pinpoints it to Morrison, who has been used forward to good effect on occasion.
He's very much a utility player with Chad Morrison. I think Kemp copping a high one there, but the beauty of him is that he can go to either end of the ground or can play in a midfield situation. He's got a very, very good leap on him for his size. Originally one of the Victorians to have crossed the border. He's done fairly well for the Eagles in that time.
They need a goal here. They trail by 20 points. It was 8 points at half-time. Morrison slots it.
When you look at the winners for the West Coast Eagles up in their forward line, probably the only winner that you could give a nod to is really their smallest player up there, Dennis, and Philip Matera. And he's carrying a lot of responsibility, and now that his sidekick and Scott Cummings is not out there, because we were talking about the half-time break, they really do work in tandem together.
Yep.
And with Cummings leading up, he basically creates a bit of a hole that Matera can run into. So
play restarts. It's 2-1 in this term. Then Gardner slaps it down. Ratton having a good quarter, kicking to half forward. That's a very clever mark by Hickmott. Just reaching out in front and bidding Metropolis body to body. Now he kicks for space, and Whitnell going back with great courage. McIntosh, but the ball stays in. Hume deep in the pocket. There's a man on in the square. Didn't see Koutoufides, who was by himself. The ball came across, and Williams kicks it up towards the wing. Koutoufides ruining his misfortune back in the square. He threw his arms to the heavens, did Koutoufides. No one within 20 metres of him, but Hume couldn't get it around.
They were very lucky in that situation, weren't they?
I'll say.
He was a mile in front on his own with Anthony Koutoufides.
Still hard for Hume. Back to goal. Lucky for the Eagles. Chambers is in there. Over the ball is Mansfield. Mansfield trying to punch it out. Over the top of him, a teammate, Aaron Hamill, who's been well held today. Hamill hasn't been the dangerous forward we've come to expect. Last time against the Eagles on this ground, he bitted 5 goals. Jakovic, clean possession. Smothered off the boot by Bradley, and ricochets high in the air. Taken away by Banfield, taken high. The kick slides across the ground. McKay had it covered initially, heard the voice and slaps it out wide to accommodate Beaumont. He's a left footer. Beaumont paddling it around out there. Was he in possession? Not according to the umpire. Always a contentious one.
I think that was a fair free kick, that one, Dennis.
I think so.
And McKay just letting Chad Rintoul know. Had a quick look at the replay, and he was just trying to control it, and that's where the free kick came from.
Had him very early too. Here's Donnelly on the outer side. Metropolis slips it away to Jones. Jones goes out wide to Rintoul.
It's got to be a relay free
that
kick.
will be, I think, where the ball was kicked from. I doubt it will be relayed, or will it? The umpire going across, indicating a relayed free kick. Well, I thought McKay got him in the act of kicking. He took him high. It was crude. Well, I thought he was kicking the ball at the time. Anyway, the Eagles have got it inside the 50, and they'll take any opportunity they can get their mitts on.
We'll have another look at the replay and just sort of see whether we thought. There we go. Oh, I think it's more just from the crudeness of the tackle more than anything else. Is probably the relay, Dennis.
Yeah, well, maybe. Here's Philip Matera.
Important goal, this one now for the Eagles.
He'll kick from about 40. And I think he's missed. He has. Got to take those half chances, the West Coast Eagles. They trail 10-7 to 8-6. Hands Christou to bring it in. Gets it everywhere he goes. Kick up towards half-back. Gardner somehow got through. Well played to Banfield inside the 50. Banfield heads for home. Christou floats in and flicks it back over his shoulder and rushes it behind. But just for the moment, the Eagles enjoying a good patch, doing the bulk of the attacking, but quite often this is when Carlton are at their most dangerous. They've done it a couple of times today. They split things open and go down and get a goal against the run of play. Umpire Coates just checking things out there.
In this situation, all the Carlton players have pushed back, and what they generally do is then present themselves, but with Christou kicking out, you generally know he's going to go long.
Oh, Kunafides at the second attempt almost. Close to the boundary line. Franchina left it behind. Donnelly across to Williams. Improvises and kicks it straight to Kunafides. That was easier. Rice takes the hand pass. Kicks up towards the wing. Hamill comes on the lead. Takes the mark on his chest. Aaron Hamill just 4 possessions so far. Shades his eyes against the setting sun. Comes down towards half forward. Ratton's in front. Knocked away by Reid. Out to Fletcher. Nowhere to go, but got through. Hand pass untidy. A Rentoul to Kemp. Sold into trouble. Stifled there by McKay. A collision between Hamill and Kemp. Trying to crash his way through. An Eagle player who ran into a dead end there, Rentoul. And will have a ball up.
A good play by a couple of players there. We're going to take another look at this attempted mark by Kunafides. And probably never really was in the second bounce, but beg your pardon.
It's like a line out there, wasn't it? As Hamill comes away with the ball, he was up and then he got the boost. Meantime, it's an Eagle free kick. It'll be taken by Michael Gardner. Towards half forward, off hands to Glass. Across it comes to Kemp. Kemp is taken by 2 of them. And the umpire Allen, goes across to ball it up.
Speaking about Allen, they've rested Matty Allen now, the Blues, and Trent Houghton has gone into the ruck, and Matty Allen wasn't too happy. Cummings is not fit on the bench, and Michael Braun's off for the Eagles as well.
Crowd not all that happy. They want them to rest, I think, umpire Allen. There's the ball across half forward for the West Coast Eagles. Franchina flicks it up. So good in tight as Ratton. Got it across very quickly to Bradley. Ricochets out wide, taken by Fletcher. Fletcher kicks across the wing. Loose ball at the back. Whitnell went for it. Lacking support. This is Metropolis. Metropolis towards the centre and Banfield. Margin is 12 points. Now an opportunity for Glass. Kicks down towards half forward. Kunafides up high to knock it away from McIntosh. Wide of the pack, hitting the ball hard, Rentoul. Hitting him hard, Fletcher. It jars across to Donnelly. Donnelly from 40 metres out has missed again. Well, they're coming hard, the West Coast Eagles, at the moment. And he's been a key factor, Andrew Donnelly, getting plenty of it. Once again, and we said this is very much a hallmark of their style of play, Carlton. They can ride things out. They're doing that at the moment. Kick in finds Houghton. And he's marked out towards left half back. Releases Bradley. Bradley miscues completely. Well played by McKenna, lunging at that one. Thumps it about 25 metres. Gardner hard against the boundary line. Kicks down towards half forward. Awkward one there for Morrison. Ricocheted off him. Across it comes from Fletcher. Taken by Kunafides. High ball. Marked out there by Gardner. And there's 50. Michael Gardner will pick up 50, which will take the man on the mark inside the 50-metre line. Umpire Allen is stepping out a pretty good 50. Back goes Camporelli dutifully.
Well, the thing about this situation with the 50-metre penalty, Dennis, is that had it not been given, Michael Gardner would not been in any position to score. Now, of course, bring it inside the 50, he's in with a chance of scoring, and that can be punishing you. I suppose if there's any place you want a 50-metre penalty, it's when you're in defence.
Camporelli was a bit clingy. It was very much line ball, although he did arrive a step after Gardner had taken the mark, and Gardner has kicked it out to the right-hand side and missed.
It's really costing the Eagles. They want the ball checked again, Den, just to make sure it's not the ball that's making all these behinds for them.
Well, they're getting plenty of it. I'd kick this ball. Sooner or later, you'll kick a goal. Get a new one. Carlton might like it. Comes to Rice.
Only problem is their conversion, Dennis. 13 times inside the 50 this quarter for only 1 goal for Carlton. As we said, do it so much more easily. 5 times in, and they've scored 2 goals. So, and here they are again with the run from their half-back line. Rice.
McKay gave it to Beaumont, to Rice. Across it comes to Christou. Down towards half-forward. Knocked away by McKenna. Falling to the ground out there, Metropolis. Gardner put the body in. Hamill overrun the footy. Here's that dangerous Lappin again, a centering kick. Bounces off the chest of Reid. Houlihan trying to find a way through. Springs to his feet. Gets it across to Koutafidis. He's got that patented move. Puts the ball in one hand. Hurriedly kicks it down towards the pocket. Back goes Metropolis. And he was eager to get the ball out of bounds. How often do we see that? Koutafidis, we've said it many times, like carrying a loaf of bread, just puts it in the big paw and somehow backs off and around tacklers, but that time not free enough to get a good kickoff. Whitnell was held, no free. Wrestled to the ground, perhaps taken high, Reid. And there'll be a ball up. Well, how the umpire behind can't see that Whitnell had his jumper pulled there is beyond me.
Den, the Eagles want Koutafidis to be done for holding the loaf of bread.
They sent them to the colonies for that in the early days. Ball inside the defensive 50. Hickmott's over the footy. Gets it out. Lappin backed off that one. Metropolis didn't want it. Kicks it towards the outer side. Bradley holding the man. He hand passed it away. Bradley, no free. Crowd one holding the ball. Bradley can't believe it. He looks towards the umpire. He says, I'm not buying into it. He should, because it's his job.
Take another look, and I thought young Jones did quite well there, almost dropping the ball.
There was a little bit of a hand pass there. Well, it's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah.
Boundary throw in. Rucks go at it. Too high on Koutafidis. Play goes on. Camporelli. Awkward one. Knocked on by Ratton into the path of Mansfield. Well played, Mansfield. Into an open goal. Sharp angle, and I think he's kicked it. Well played.
And if we go back to the throw-in, you'll have a look at Anthony Koutafidis, and one of the things that he's very good at, besides being on the ground, he's also very good at coming over the top. And he's just so hard to contain. Ashley McIntosh hasn't done too bad on him today. Very well done by Ratton, but Mansfield's been quite a handy pickup since he's come to over from Geelong. He can either go forward, kick goals, he can go across the half-back line where he made his name for himself at Geelong, being an All-Australian, and they do use him inside the centre square.
I just got the feeling, Chris, that the one thing that incident couldn't have been on the outer side involving Craig Bradley was a boundary throw-in. Gardner goes up and knocks it down. Kemp battles with Ratton. Well, don't expect to see the footy out of that. 2 real hard doers in there, and we'll have a ball up.
I said before the start of the game, without a Ben Cousins, a lot of responsibility lying on Dean Kemp's shoulders, and he just needs a little bit of help now from a few of the other young Eagles players that are inside there.
Gardner knocked it down. Camporelli, the base of the pack. You just see the ball. Just hoping nobody soccers in that situation. Watch it again. Kemp and Ratton.
Just 2 players not prepared to give her an inch, are they?
No.
That situation.
And when they pick their all-time best teams in about 25 years' time, expect both of those players to line up for their clubs. Banfield. Koutafidis over the ball. Chambers moves it out. Gardner sockers it off the ground, almost where the penalty was taken last night. Just outside the 50. Franchina did well, stood up in the tackle, releases Hamill. Hamill kicks it out towards the wing, 2-on-1. Hickmott flicks it across to Ratton. Wrong puts his opponent. Banfield kicks off his step, not a particularly good kick. Awkward bounce down there for Lappin. Coming through is McKenna. Back come the Eagles again, enjoying a very good spell in this game. He kicks it out towards the wing and Gehrig, but they can't finish their work. Gehrig kicks into the man on the mark. The crowd gave the ironic cheer too early. Kemp is surrounded by 3 of them. Is he holding the ball? Umpire Allen says no.
The work there by Simon Bowman was just fantastic on the mark from Fraser Gehrig, just restricting the ball to go forward. Gehrig had the lead from Donnelly, and just the desperation of the Carlton players slowly coming through. They're just doing those little extra things, the tackles, the smothers.
Well done by Banfield. Lost it eventually, though. Ratton's over it. Expect another bounce.
They've got to
2.5 minutes till three-quarter time. Barra.
Dan, they've got to score. They've got to score a goal, the Eagles, to keep in this game. It's exactly as you said. They don't score at one end and then the Carlton goes down the other end and kicks a freak goal.
Or a hard-working goal, as was the last one. Kemp battling hard to Glass. Hurriedly on the boot. Gains about 30 metres. It's out of bounds. Down towards left half forward for the West Coast Eagles.
Jeez, the work of Dean Kemp there was just fantastic inside there. He just had it with one arm and controlled it. And was able to get a quick handball out. And he's a bit like Ratton. He's very good inside those clinches.
Floating in his Hamill. Well, that's holding the ball. No. Ratton throws it on the boot. He opted to take it, Hamill. Should have paid the price there, really. I guess in that situation, prior opportunity is to knock it away. Koutafidis did brilliantly. Houghton got it to Houlihan. Rice's kick finds McKenna. McKenna goes to Djakovic. Not much to that side of the ground now for Djakovic, though. Jones and Wooden. Two inexperienced players, and I don't think Djakovic likes that too much. Sees Fraser Gehrig, so he goes longer, but they've got the numbers out there, Carlton. Beaumont plays it pretty well, knocks it forward, it's out of bounds.
He almost would have been better in that situation of going to Guy McKenna, who was standing at centre-half back on his own, and then he could have just went straight down the middle. You would have seen the ball at the Eagles' 50-metre zone, as opposed now you're on the outside of the wing, so not really going straight down the middle of the Eagles, and it's cost them.
Yep. Gardner and Houghton body to body. Gardner should win this one. No, Houghton did well. Kemp in trouble, slung by Franchina, and we'll have a ball up. There's Kemp. Good tackle by Franchina, who this time last year was nursing a broken foot, caused him to miss 9 games. Tough son of a gun. Gardner taken front on by Koutafidis. McIntosh falls on the pair of them. And a ball up. Anthony Koutafidis, 24 possessions, Chris.
It's almost like Carlton's just tried to slow the pace of the game down a little bit, because the West Coast Eagles were sort of in control, and now they're just sort of seeing out the quarter. And if they can, as I think as Adrian said, if they can just hold them now, it'll be very hard for the Eagles to try and come back, because they have really struggled to get easy goals today, the Eagles.
Banfield, no free kick, and the ball's out of bounds.
And in a close game, Dennis, if you're not getting them easy, it makes it pretty difficult when you're coming from 3 goals behind.
Yep. Well, they got 4 of their goals in the opening term. They're 8 now, the West Coast Eagles, so it's really dried up for them on the forward line. They've had their chances, though, in this term, and they've kicked behinds. Houghton doing pretty well, pinch hitting. Camporelli taking about 3 revolutions and no free kick. The umpire's letting them play. Here's Morrison across to Kemp, falling to the ground. Gardner in trouble. Hamill's got it. Tackled by Glass. Jarred out of there. Franchina picks it up on the wing. Hooks it down towards half forward. And Lappin finding space. Gets away from McKenna. Whitnell comes on the lead. Made to earn it, certainly, by Djakovic. But once again, Carlton's ability to ride the punches and then deliver a haymaker of their own. And this one has come from, let's say, the floorboards.
Such a strong mark there by Whitnell. I mean, Glenn Djakovic is a very big man, and when he punches from behind, well, he certainly punched, but he didn't get the ball there in that case, Dennis. But he's the old story. If they're going to take a mark, make him earn it, I suppose.
This will be interesting. Whitnell has had some indifferent kicks in recent times from set shots. He can be good or very poor. He goes after the siren. And what's he done? I think he's got it.
Is it?
He has. What a timely goal. Big time goal for Carlton. Right on the siren. And you get the feeling that maybe after all the hard work from the West Coast Eagles, this could finally break their resolve.
That's just that little breather going into 3/4 time, isn't it?
Yep. It was a great mark.
Just to give the opposition some doubt now when they go in at the 3/4 time huddle. The Eagles players will look up at the ball. There's one thing you do, Dennis, as you're coming in, you have a look at the scoreboard. They'll go 4 goals. This is going to be pretty tough for us.
So the Carlton coaches come down. It's like a who's who of the AFL when they run down that race. but as long as a team competing in the AFL too. It's three-quarter time, 79 plays 57. Carlton are on top. There he is, Anthony Koutafidis up high. He failed to take the mark, but from that point he was elevated even higher. As we start the final term, Allen knocks it down to Franchina. Franchina kicks Carlton inside their 50. Storming up is Lappin. Lappin's hand pass straight to McIntosh. They need early goals, the West Coast Eagles. Glass out of defence, kicks around the outer side. Franchina marks in front of Kemp. Franchina kicks down inside the 50. Banking back is Metropolis. Koutafidis over the top. Djakovic against the flow. Can't get a handle on it. He battles on. Camporelli on top of him and a bounce.
Djakovic has certainly had the battle over Whitnell today, and actually been quite impressed with Glenn Djakovic in the last few weeks. Starting to get back to the old form that won him 3 first and best, Dennis.
Yes, he's done well today. Whitnell has tested him at times. Here's Gardner away to Banfield, arches the back and runs away. Whoops, had a bounce, left it behind. Lappin was upended. Reed got him as the kick goes around the outer side. Awkward half volley for Silvani, picked up by Turnbull into the path of Braun. Couldn't control it. Jones has got it across to Morrison. Morrison still inside the centre square, gets it to Braun. Braun about 80 metres from goal, kicks it down towards Philip Matera. Could have almost got a free there, Matera. Gehrig stood his ground, hacked out of there by Beaumont, well played. Comes to Banfield. Banfield's hand pass intercepted by Beaumont. Little chip pass out. Fletcher's got it now on the outer side. Fletcher kicks through the wing towards half forward and Koutafidis. Koutafidis about 85 metres from goal, sets it up for Whitnell, steps around Djakovic, was tripped by his teammate, who then was collected by Djakovic.
It's getting reported.
Djakovic has been reported, so this will take Whitnell and or the player on the ground, and I think that's Hamill, down to the goal square.
Yeah, I don't think Glenn Djakovic actually meant to get him high.
It's Ratton who's getting up.
In the situation. I know the Carlton players seem to be very unhappy with it. And if we take another look, Whitnell got the better of Gehrig as he's come into Shepherd.
Yeah.
I don't think that was anything malicious in that, Dennis.
Not at all. That was purely accidental, and it was the trip over Whitnell that got Ratton into trouble.
And now there's a 50 for some reason, is it?
Well, there's been a report, so that will take Ratton into the goal square, but I doubt that will do any business at the tribunal during the week. Far be it for us, of course, to preempt the tribunal, but in the course of this game, it's a very important 50. One of the problems with that rule, Ratton puts it through.
It's a little bit harsh on Glenn Djakovic, and knowing the type of player that he is and what goes through his mind, that will be worrying him now. For the rest of this quarter, he'll be thinking about fronting up at the tribunal this week and whether he's going to be missing any game. We'll see another replay of it, and there was definitely no intent there, I don't think, from Glenn Djakovic. Rab's just come into Shepherd, and really Djakovic was just fending him off. He has got him high. That is of some concern. But as I said, Glenn Djakovic will worry about this for the rest of the game now, and this could be a chance for Whitnell to. This could be a chance for Whitnell now to get on top of Djakovic, because he'll be worried.
It's a big lead now. Hard to see the Eagles getting back from here. Carlton, we used the word methodical early, doing very much as they like on their forward line just for the moment. Camporelli got it to Whitnell. Djakovic, though, blocked the kick, charging in his Hamill. Ratton tried to go through, left the ball behind, butters up his second time. And it's getting a little testy in there, and a free kick to Carlton. And I think against Djakovic, it's going to Koutafidis.
The crowd certainly unhappy with some of these umpiring decisions in the last couple of minutes of this game.
60 metres out. It's a long kick. And the mark is taken by Whitnell about 2 metres off the goal line, or more correctly, the behind line. But here's a right footer, and should work into the kick here. Just come around, and this shouldn't be beyond him.
I was saying a minute ago how Whitnell could take advantage of that situation on Djakovic, and he certainly has. And this would just about seal the game for Carlton, I'd have to say, Dennis, if it wasn't already done before.
Runs around and kicks the goal.
Well, if you look at the last 2 goals that Carlton have got, it's actually come from some free kicks. And that's a little bit of a worry, because the Eagles have had to work so hard. And
he still might have a case to answer.
But perhaps just some slight undisciplined play there. But really, you can't be giving away free kicks because Carlton are going to make you pay for it. That's what they've done.
Well, life can be funny. What do they talk about? Roundabouts and swings. We just saw a swing there. Taken by Gardner. Gets it across to Banfield. Banfield breaks away. Kicks inside the 50. Christou goes back. Carried him. Philip Matera coming up. Metropolis. An entire city was run over. It's picked up down there by McKay. Got it to Ratton. Hand passes to Rice. Rice from right half back. Kicks it towards the outer side. And it's a relayed free down the ground to be taken by Allen. And just for the moment, the Eagles...
They're starting to become messy, aren't they?
Yes, they're coming unglued. Reid misses it. Could have been held by the arm. Koutoufides, there he is again. Back from the deli. Gets it across to Hickmott. Hickmott kicks it down towards the 50. Hamill was up. Coming through his glass. Held without it. Surely umpire. They're not going to be popular. Hamill comes out wide. Mansfield has got it. Mansfield from 70 metres kicks it directly straight to, like a traceable to, Morrison, who gets a hand pass across to Jakovic. Jakovic around the outer side. Getting in behind the defence is Donnelly. Donnelly tracking it back. Silvani got there quickly. Oh, well played. Bounces to his feet. Hurried kick around the outer side. Too tall for his intended, though. Morrison once more. Little chip pass. Gets it to Donnelly. Feeds it back inside to Jones. Jones kicks it high. 2-on-1 down there. Rice intent on getting it, I think, on the ground, but not a bad result for the Eagles, the fact it's gone out of bounds in the pocket.
That's really been their problem, hasn't it? When they've been going inside the 50 now, they've really been outnumbered by Carlton. And when you've got a player who's the smallest player for the Eagles taking two players on one, it's going to be pretty difficult to try and get a score. And they just need to have more of their runners getting down there to offer support for the Eagles forwards.
Silvani was run over. Hickmott hurriedly limping around down there is Gehrig. The ball close to the boundary line. It's gone out. Just need to check with Adrian Barrett. Now, the Coleman medalist is fit to come back on, Adrian. Is that your understanding?
He's fit to come back on, Den, but they're saying he's not fully fit. And Gehrig's out there and he's not fully fit, so the better option, they think, is Gehrig.
Okay.
They went into the game both under a bit of a fitness worry, didn't they?
Camporelli got it across to Christou, who kicks it high, and a strong mark is taken by Morrison, showing courage, drifting back. Morrison left half forward, goes for distance and gets plenty of it. They'll contest about 10 metres out. Gehrig could have almost got a free in there. Banfield, the crumb, kicks a goal.
Well, it's finally worked for them. They've just done the long bombing, hoping to have some crummers, and they really rely on Philip Matera to get in that situation most of the time. This time, Drew Banfield has found himself front and centre and running onto the ball. He was actually moving, which is a very good thing. A lot of players just try to get the ball stationary, but when you're on the move, it's very hard for the defence to stop you. And Dennis, you'd almost sort of think that for the Eagles to win, they've got to throw everything at them. So why not bring Cummings on? Because they need to kick goals.
Yep. No argument from me, Chris. I think if the Eagles are to win, Scott Cummings needs to come back, and not only come back, but put a couple of goals. Tapped down by Allen, but in the wrong direction. Kemp swoops on it. Fletcher applied a strong tackle. Braun, who's been very good this afternoon. Mansfield did brilliantly. Got the swinging arm. Tries to slap it out of there. Braun in the opposite direction. Wrestled down by Ratton. Ratton takes the ball off Braun. Such is the strength of the man. But we've got a ball up.
Just such good pressure by the Carlton players there. Their tackling is just first class. They're actually the second best tackling side in the competition, and it's little wonder that the Eagles have found it hard to keep moving the ball as quick as what they'd like to be doing. Free kick now being given out to Franchina.
And just watching the replay moments ago, Mansfield should have got a free kick against Braun. This is Hamill kicking it down towards half forward. The mark is taken by Allen. So the margin 28 points. Get the feeling, though, the difference between these two clubs is a little more than that. Mark is taken by Reid at centre half back. Can the Eagles come again? You'd have to doubt it. McKenna, Jakovic on report. He's at right half back. Kicks it very high. Gardner in front of Silvani. Silvani did well to get it on the ground. Battling after the ball is Rentoul. Silvani somehow kept it going his way and somehow got it to McKay. Ratton's got the footy. 60 metres out, kicks for space. Allen, not a bad kick. He's on his left foot going that way. Has to come back, though. He was too close to the boundary. Pulls it back towards the middle. Lappin thought about it for a while. Who me? He was up, couldn't mark. Reid kicks it straight to Hamill.
He was just indecisive then, Philip Reid, wasn't he? He wasn't quite sure whether to go long or whether to go short. It's almost like he's half kicked it. Hamill was in the right spot.
That was a clever kick from Ratton, though. Releasing Allen onto his left foot. Had it sat for him, and you would have assumed it would, because normally on the second bounce, the ball does sit up at about waist height. He could have run onto it, kicked the goal, but for once, and they've had concerns about the footy, both clubs, it ran away from Allen. And he ran out of space because he finished up right near the boundary line. Here's Hamill kicking from 35, and he puts it through.
Well, it's not looking good now for the Eagles. And again, is Carlton able to get weight of numbers down in there? And I'm just wondering whether Ryan Turnbull could have just put a bit more pressure on Allen there. He basically knew that Allen had to come back around onto his right foot and should have been able to just push him a little bit further and put some pressure on him. As it was, Allen was able to do the right thing rather than going for a snap around the corner and hoping for a 1 in 10 chance of kicking goal. Brought it back into the centre.
They're meeting every challenge, the Blues. 15-7 plays 9-9. Allen decisively. Ratton gained about 10 metres. Hamill suddenly getting more of it. Fletcher kicks inside the 50. In front was Whitnell, had it knocked away by Djakovic. Gardner kicks it out towards the wing, and Kemp, his metres in the clear. Something good should happen for the Eagles here. Kemp kicks down towards half forward. No, it wasn't the best finish. Knocked across the boundary.
Not really the right decision, and Dean Kemp doesn't often make the wrong decisions, but he had Rintoul inside him there, Dennis. He only had to handball inwards, and instead he went for a 2-on-1 situation. As I said, unusual for Dean Kemp to make a decision like that. And the ball's gone out of bounds instead of perhaps being a bit further down for the Eagles.
Whitnell's off the ground. Houghton is on. Knocked forward meantime by Banfield towards centre half forward. Through comes Fletcher. Swings it out wide to Bradley. Bradley, the defensive side of left centre wing, kicks it down towards half forward, turning around and taking the mark is McKenna. No easy mark that with his son where it is. He found the ball as he turned, did well. Morrison. Reid is breaking for him. That's the direction the kick takes on the outer side. He's outnumbered 2-on-1. Hume stopped it, went back and found it. Got it to Hamill. Hamill inside the centre square. Hickmott had to stretch, but he's got it. Hand passes to Ratton. Ratton kicking to half forward. That's wonderful football. Houghton's got it now. Running back hard towards full forward is Lappin. Instead he went to Franchina. Gardner missed it. Franchina didn't. Runs into an open goal, and that should just about do it.
Well, you really got to think about the effort there by Michael Gardner. I know he is a big man, but he only had someone a little bit smaller than him running on, and he just didn't get down and meet the ball. And it was really a pretty bad mistake, really, by Gardner here. He should have just attacked the ball. He just really took his time, just very casual about it. And that's just the difference. If you're not hitting it at full pelt, it's like you're almost giving in.
Well, travelling again, and they've won again, it seems, Carlton. They like coming to Perth. Gardner takes a run at it. Ratton falling to the ground, concedes some ground. Jones runs onto it. He started well on Koutafidis. Fletcher couldn't control it. Bradley in trouble. Back over the shoulder, only as far as Braun. He kicks inside the 50. It runs on. Room service bounce. It goes through for a goal.
Well, a handy goal, but the Eagles are very lucky to be in that situation, because the last three centre bounce downs now, Allen has had no problems in getting it down to Ratton. All he does is palm it down with his left hand, and no one has been bothering to pick up Ratton in this situation. We know how good he is with his hands, very good with his getting it quickly on, and so the Eagles, though, coming way too late.
(10-9) plays 16-7. Give the Eagles their due when Carlton back off just a little bit. The Eagles keep on coming. Morrison thumps it down towards half forward. High tackle on Hickmott. Nothing doing. Tries to dig it out. Hamill's got the run of it. Hamill going back towards half back. Too nimble there for Glass. Kicks it across the ground. Taken on the other side by Fletcher. Ratton will need to go. Jakovic comes up and meets it. And those two clashed about 5 minutes ago. Hence Jakovic on report. It seemed accidental, though. It'll be interesting to see what the tribunal does. There was an incident just after that may be of more interest, as Donnelly's got the ball on the outer side. He's tried very hard this afternoon. Guy McKenna coming off. Acknowledgement perhaps that this game is lost as the ball comes down towards half forward. Big leap from Gardner. He's got other ideas.
Well, they haven't really thrown it in, that's for sure. The Eagles sort of keep coming at him. I'm talking about Guy McKenna going off there. I imagine Ken Judge is thinking, well, the Eagles can't get back into this game, so we may as well give a young fellow like Callum Chambers, who hasn't had a lot of time on the field, Dennis, and just let him get a bit of experience out there in the AFL arena. You would think this gap would be way too big for the Eagles to come back at the 15-minute mark of the last quarter.
Gardner comes in hard and kicks from 50. It's a long kick. It's an accurate kick. It's a goal.
And you'd probably have to give the honours to Michael Gardner in his bout with Matthew Allen today. Allen's probably been a little bit more dominant in the centre bounce down squares, but around the ground you would have to give the honours to Gardner. He's also popped up with 2 goals. Their ruck tops, as I said, Allen's probably been a little bit more significant in that area, and that's where Michael Gardner has really matured this year. His ability to not only take the rucks but move around the ground and offer the West Coast Eagles another big man up forward by moving through the 50.
Today's official attendance 39,672. Obviously a promoter's dream next week would be Perth Glory against the Blues. It's knocked down there by Houghton. It spills across to Ratton. Ratton kicks it down towards half forward. Storming up the ground there is Morrison. Kicks towards the outer side. Fletcher. He's meters in the clear, Fletcher. Wrong foots his opponent. Kicks it towards half forward. Ratton fingertips to it. Morrison with dash. Comes away from half back. Searching kick to half forward. Tailor-made for Silvani. Knocks it away from Gardner. Taken by Christou. Back to Silvani. The long sleeve brigade come through there. Out to Manton. Manton just on the ground, kicking towards half forward. Another long sleever. It's Lappin. He's been very good. Chips back towards the middle. Hamill must get a free kick. Advantage paid. Houghton kicks it goal, and he's kicked it through. Now that's an advantage.
And again, we just saw the run from the halfback line of Carlton, and Stephen Silvani really setting that up. He was able to find Manton out on his own, and Chad Morrison, unfortunately, really didn't do anything wrong there, as Lappin was able to get hold of the ball, but Morrison, of course, was instrumental in getting the ball out of the Carlton forward line beforehand. Lappin had basically just sapped off Morrison, and then when he saw the ball coming forward, it was way too far in front of him, and he was able to sort of get free.
They're a very good team, Carlton. We said that when they eclipsed the Fremantle Dockers. They've come back a few weeks later, and they've stuck it to the West Coast Eagles. Brilliantly done there by Houghton. Got it down to Koutafidis. Kicks inside the 50. Coming through was Hume. Was he taken high? No free kick. Ratton kicks it down towards the pocket, and it bounces out of bounds. He's an interesting pinch hitter, is Houghton, when he does a little bit of ruck work for the Blues.
They've been very good in the centre squares clearances so far in this quarter, and I'd say they'd be winning it for the game. And they're just really just forcing the ball continuously down into their forward line. The Eagles' back line, Jakovic has done pretty well for himself there today. Morrison's tried hard, but weight of numbers just seems to be catching him out. And here's one man who just always seems to be running forward, and I think that's his 3rd goal for the day in Camperelli.
Assist from the boundary umpire. Camperelli kicks a goal.
So, once again, Scott Camperelli just playing that good wingman's role where he just continually runs forward. And he, along with Bradley and Koutafidis and Ratton, have just been in sensational form in the last 4 to 5 weeks. Camperelli only had 18 possessions last week. This week he's up to 25 already. And you always got to be careful of him because he's always on the move in centre bounce downs and throw-ins, Dennis.
That was a PB for the boundary umpire, though. Wind assisted, but nevertheless, he really got some purchase on that one. And Camperelli was the beneficiary behind the pack. Turnbull did well, got it down to Kemp. Nicely worked. They get it out of the centre. Chambers got it across, and the kick from Wooden comes inside the 50. At the back, it's Rice. Close to the boundary line, Rice taken down by Philip Matera, but it's across the line.
Yep, the flag's gone up for the Eagles. Cummings is on the bench, injured. Peter Matera's injured. McKenna's got a sore back, and now McIntosh is having a spell as well.
Just saw Cummings coming around the boundary line moments ago. This afternoon clearly was over. There's McKay. Short. Mansfield. The defensive side of half-back, kicking towards the outer side. Coming up the ground is Morrison. Gets the hand pass away. Chambers to Kemp. Running out of space. Dean Kemp pops it out of bounds on the full. At left half forward.
Just the pressure from Carlton, making it hard for Dean Kemp to find any options up forward.
Just under 8 minutes to go as he kicks it up towards the wing. Gardner dragged down as Chambers, taken by Hume. Lappin got it to Houlihan. Houlihan on the wing, diving at it. Morrison couldn't complete the mark. Pushed out of it. Ratton. Trouble is Banfield. He was tackled by Bradley, and the ball goes across the boundary line. In terms of time to go, there's still plenty of time, although you can't see West Coast getting back from here. It's been more about the way the game has been played as Morrison takes a despairing lunge at that one. Came out when he came to ground. Houghton went to ground. Well done by Franchina. Well done by Kemp to knock it away from Ratton, who found it with his boot at the second attempt. Hamill charging up the ground inside the 50, pushed off the kick, out of bounds on the full.
Franchina there a minute ago was almost copying Koutafidis with his one hand there, waving it around. Perhaps it's catching down at Carlton.
Well, you'd see it a lot of training, wouldn't you? So you'd want to do it. Glass kicks it broadcast side. Chambers. This is Houlihan. Chambers missed it. Now he's chasing Fletcher. Got him close to the boundary line. Couldn't buy that dummy, really. You couldn't let Fletcher come in where there was so much space. Had to drive him towards the boundary. Hamill just gets away from Glass. Brilliantly played to Houlihan. Runs into an open goal, and the young man gets it. They're a goal-scoring family.
Well, you just got to keep looking at where Carlton are getting their goals from, and it's just really the amount of players that they have at the fall of the ball, and they're always on the move too. They're never stationary, they're never flat-footed, and it just makes it pretty hard. Young Darren Glass, he didn't do anything wrong, actually put on a very good tackle on Hamill, but of course, as I sort of said, just weighted numbers. They always seem to have options. They're very good with their hands, and it's just too hard for the Eagles' defence.
I just get the feeling, Chris, this more than any other game tells us where the West Coast Eagles are in the scheme of things. I think this has been a game where both sides have really had a crack today. Both sides have had their chances, but it's been Carlton who have shown the gap between themselves and maybe that pack that is behind the top 2 or 3 sides. Close to the boundary line, Philip Matera takes it across.
And you probably would say that the West Coast Eagles certainly miss a player of Ben Cousins' capability, but
sure,
he's probably not worth 8 goals, that's for sure, Dennis. Maybe, you know, a couple, especially inside the centre, but they've just been, well, they've just really continued on with their form of recent weeks. It's 7 in a row now, and you can't play with form, that's for sure.
No, and there's a certain fragility about the fitness of the West Coast Eagles. I mean, Matera's off with yet another calf injury, or maybe more to the point, the same calf injury as the ball's out of bounds. A question mark over McKenna. So when you talk about the players that aren't there, it's almost a fact of life that the West Coast Eagles have got to deal with that from week to week.
It's almost, you'd need to almost with Peter Matera now, as you said, he's been on and off for about the last 4 or 5 weeks with this calf injury. He probably needs to take a week or 2 break to get it right, because he's no good to the side, only playing 5 or 10 minutes each game.
They sorely miss Mitchell White, but having said all of that, Carlton have taken the honours today. Houlihan, McKay.
Just so much run, Dennis, off their half-back line.
Houghton in space, getting plenty of it in the final term. Hickmott low down, that's a good grab. Plays on. Bradley running hard up the ground. Craig Bradley, 20 possessions. Kicking across to McKay and/or Lappin. And Lappin, who's booted 3 goals, all of them in the first half, hooks it cleverly to McKay, who's run on. He runs to 30 metres out and narrowly misses. He would have loved that. Throws his head back in despair.
And you're talking about the players with injuries, and I'm just having a look around. Ryan Turnbull's limping. He was trying to chase Stephen Silvani up the ground, but he's also on one leg. There he is hobbling. And I don't think they've got anyone else basically to bring on.
Reid kicks off. Much the same as last week. They finished with a walking wounded. A free kick awarded against Fletcher. Kick from Jones up towards the wing. Big leap out there from Chambers. Picked up by Kemp. Gets it across to Gardner, who takes off. Bradley bearing down. Gardner from 55. Pushes it right. And a behind.
A real who's who of the Blues on the bench for Carlton. Koutafidis, Whitnell, Allen and Sexton.
That's not bad, is it? And Christou, he of the darting eyes to bring it in. 122-77. There's Beaumont. Started the season well, Carlton. Then lost a couple. But they've been red hot over the last couple of months. Hot in the big leap. Williams, well played by Camporelli. They're very adroit at doing that, Carlton. Stifling hand passes. They read the play from a couple of paces off, as good as any side in the competition. Ratton created a goal earlier this afternoon by doing that. And that time, Camporelli sizing it up, seeing where the hand pass was going, just dropping the hand and smothering the ball. Good player, Scott Camporelli. One down by Gardner. Kemp gets the kick towards half forward. Awkward one for Braun, trying to crash his way through down there. Metropolis. That was a very good tackle. In awkward circumstances by Christou. Just saw a blur going past and grabbed it.
Just the different signs too. In instances today, you've actually seen Carlton players who have actually been able to get through the tackles of the West Coast Eagles players, whereas Carlton have, once they've clamped on, the Eagles players haven't gone anywhere.
Cross half forward for the West Coast Eagles. Kemp to Braun. Braun trying to pull it back, but couldn't get enough on it, and it's a behind. So Carlton will win 7 straight as a result of this one. Improve their record to 9-3. And the West Coast Eagles will fall to 6-5-1. Next week, Carlton will play Melbourne at the MCG. That's on Saturday, and that should be a pretty good game. Melbourne lost today, but they weren't far away. They got a big start, big lead against the Western Bulldogs. But the Western Bulldogs, a club, they're playing some pretty good football at the moment too. Here's Ratton inside the defensive 50, wobbles it across to Beaumont, who drops the mark. As a result, they've got a problem. Mansfield, no problems at all. Steps around the oncoming players and kicks it up towards the wing. Hickmott could have almost got a kick there. It's knocked across the boundary line. Hickmott being quite friendly, but not so Hamill. Gardner and Houghton. Houghton giving away a lot of size. Gardner taps it down. Hamill read it pretty well. Back to Ratton. Goes again, does Ratton. He's had 33 possessions now. Taken by Manton. Little hand pass to release Fletcher. 75 metres from goal. Intended for Hickmott. Wide of the mark though. Coming up is Morrison, and Morrison proceeds to put it out of bounds on the full.
Again, just the pressure from Carlton, and Chad Morrison would have been better off just trying to put it on and just run it across the boundary line. It's always easier said than done when you're sitting up here watching it. Obviously, maybe a little bit of lack of talk from his teammates out there, and that's what happens when you're under a bit of pressure. You tend to start to go within your shell and only worry about yourself, and instead of trying to help out your teammates. Imagine Carlton out there, their players would be still yapping away.
Hume, very sharp angle.
Oh, that's good goal.
That's a marvellous kick late in the day. Goal to Carlton.
I was just having a look at a player like Aaron Hamill a minute ago, and it's been used a little bit all over the ground. Often he'll start deep in the forward line, but when the ball was being thrown in on the boundary side wing down in front of us here, he was just on the move. He just waited for the ball to be thrown up, and then he just took off and got straight at the feet of Allen, and the ball comes straight directly to him, and he was able to handball it quickly out to Ratton and then pass it on themselves. And that's been the beauty of Carlton today, is their players inside are always continuously on the move.
20 goals, 8 to 11-12. So the margin now is out to 50 points. Up goes Gardner to knock it down. Ratton had it knocked away. Workhorse he is. Banfield slips a hand pass intended for Metropolis, but missed the mark. Bradley races out of the centre. Another long kick inside the 50. Glass goes back, takes the mark inside the last 3 minutes. And this siren can't come quickly enough for the West Coast Eagles. Morrison's got it. Short one. Here's Chambers.
What started off as a pretty good game, Dennis, has really turned into a bit of a flogging, to tell you the truth, hasn't it? I mean, it's been quite significant, and a lot of Eagles people might walk away and say, oh, well, we had a go, but in the end, they've just been totally outclassed by Carlton today.
It was a terrific first half, played almost at finals pace. Banfield slips the hand pass to Gardner. Gardner kicks inside the 50. Up in front is Rice, and that was the point I was making. I think that the West Coast Eagles have come out and given it their best shot, and Carlton able to take their best and then really put their stamp on this one and have pulled away like the quality side they are. Kicks towards the outer side. Houghton was in front. It was knocked away by Gardner. Morrison crossed towards Chambers. Couldn't control it. Fletcher. McKay. Now Mansfield running forward of the wing. Michael Mansfield. Probing kick. Hamill almost tackled in midair. Couldn't complete the mark. Wooden did well. Slipped it through to Reed. Eventually the hand pass came across from Rintoul, and the kick down towards half forward from Williams. Socket forward by Kemp. Well, Kemp and Metropolis. Eventually Kemp pulled rank. Gets a hand pass to Braun, and Braun gets it to Philip Matera. Philip Matera, is there a free kick there? Not according to the umpire. He's made to earn it as Philip Matera, and there'll be a bounce in the pocket. Umpire Allen, an experienced umpire, one of the best in the AFL, was having nothing, and the crowd's called for a free kick for Philip Matera. Bounce. Houghton goes up, fell at his feet. There was a push in the back, was there? No, not according to the umpire. And we'll have a ball up. Hume's look, I think, says it all. He thought there was a push in the back. Houghton again does well. Uses the body first and then finds the footy. Overrunning it was Hume. Braun came out of there rather quickly. Mansfield grabs it. Kicks it towards the wing. 2-on-1 situation. Hickmott favoured by the bounce. No, Jones played it brilliantly. Could be penalised for deliberate. Now the umpire in this case shows a little compassion. That was brilliant by Jones. Outnumbered 2-1 and really gave it everything to get the ball across the line. That was his intention, but he was falling forward off balance. It would have been a harsh call, if not the right one. And this ball's out of bounds with Braun battling Mansfield. So we're down to 30 seconds remaining in the contest. West Coast Eagles have got a tough one next week too. Brisbane at the Gabba on Saturday night. Gardner. Manton came over the top. Wooden slips it away. Chambers hasn't been the worst of them. High kick down towards half forward. Metropolis gets a fist on it. Donnelly hooks it back towards the middle. Houghton battling here with Metropolis. Houghton falls over. Metropolis dives on top of it as we await the siren. And Carlton with plenty of support. We can hear the club song just raining down on Subiaco Oval.
They've had a lot of ex-West Australians go across and play for Carlton, so they always had a pretty big base. And there's the final siren to put the Eagles out of misery, really, Dennis.
Yep. Convincing win by Carlton. What a fine win. We've seen them twice in Perth this season, and both times they've been most impressive. They win by 50 points this afternoon. The final scoreline, it was Carlton 20 goals 8. The West Coast Eagles 11-12. So Carlton now have won 7 straight. Their record is 9-3.